Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. I'm Joseph Bonanno, live from the Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs Studios. The Titans were back on the practice field today as they continue their preparations for Week 1 against the Broncos a week from Sunday. Safety Kevin Winston Jr. and running back Khalil Mullins returned to practice but worked on a side field. Defensive lineman Devondre Sweat returned as a full participant, while there was no sign of right tackle J.C. Latham. Head coach Brian Callahan met with the media and discussed cornerback L'Jarius Sneed's availability for Week 1.
I think he's trending that way for sure. It's been a really positive week for him. He's been back at practice. Pleased with where he's at. He's worked really hard. Been a long off season for him. So really happy for him that he's back out here with his teammates and practicing. He's looked good. And then we're going to keep building his volume and getting him ready for Week 1. But feel good about where he's at.
In NFL news today, the Cowboys now appear willing to listen to multiple trade offers from Micah Parsons, and several teams have reached out, according to Adam Schefter. No trade is imminent as of right now, but Dallas wants this figured out before next week's season opener. For our foundation repair and water prevent needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome in, 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Britt Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. Babs and Slay are on assignment, both of them. So filling in, one man for two people. Stoney Keeley. Stoney, what's up? Oh.
Oh, man.
How about that, dude?
How about that? I was going to ask what I had to do to earn my stripes around here to get an entrance song. And
I guess just show up. Just continue to show up.
That was, well, I do that. I do tend to find myself in this building quite often. So, oh, that's awesome. Brent, I'm honored to be here, man. I got to tell you, I remember sitting in the parking lot of a Tuesday morning. If nobody remembers what a Tuesday morning was, it was a retail closeout store. The day that 3HL came on the air, about to go into my cruddy retail job, and I heard you guys, and I thought, man, that's what I want to do with my life. And I've been working hard ever since. To be here is a tremendous honor, and to be a part of the community that you guys have built for so long in this city. It means a lot. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, and I'm happy to talk ball with all these good people today.
We will be here until 6 o'clock. Yeah, it's, we haven't talked more than like 5 minutes ever in like one time. We do see each other in the hall and stuff, and you come and do football and other F words with Zach, and we see each other then. But this is 3 hours talking ball.
Listen,
I'm going to lean on you for some of your Titans takes because I'm interested.
You know, half of those minutes we've talked to, I was probably inebriated down at the install live. You know, I don't remember a lot about that night, but it's been good every time. And listen, I'm game, brother. Let's have a show
live. Yes,
do it.
That was an event. And full circle, Greg Cosell will be on with us today at 4:20.
I know. I feel like I owe him an apology too. I feel like I met him.
For what?
I met him and I didn't convey what a fan of his I am because I couldn't control my face.
I love it. Executive producer of 3HL is Zeph.
What's up?
How did that intro come about, bro?
So Zach Lyons actually was like, he's the one who let me know that Stoney was coming on before a lot of people knew. And so I was like, he's like, we got to get an intro for him. So I said, okay, what's his favorite song? And he was like, Glorilla. So I was like, all right, I got to get someone Glorilla in there.
I've heard that before, actually.
That's why he asked me. That's why you asked me what my favorite Glorilla song was.
That's exactly why I asked you, because we were trying to do some research without conveying that we were going to put that together.
But that is kind of a weird question. That didn't set off any kind of alarms in your head?
No, in my mind, I was like, oh, Zach needs help, so I am going to help him with this list of songs.
Zach always needs help.
So we got the song. I had, believe it or not, that deep voice at the beginning was Jackson Williams. Just modulated.
That was Jackson?
That was Jackson. I just modulated it to sound like some like deep, scary, dark.
Wow.
Which was cool. And then I did the rest of the magic putting it together.
Team effort. You got to love it.
I love it. So today, 3:20, former Florida State and NFL quarterback Danny Cannell. I know he is a lightning rod to a lot of y'all. Oh, there's Zach in there. What up, Zach?
Gang's all here.
Come in here for a second, dude. So Danny Cannell, people get a certain kind of way about him sometimes, but I'm going to tell you, if you haven't heard him on the radio, he's phenomenal, and he's so much fun. And yes, we can give each other crap, and that will be fun. We'll talk about the games coming up this weekend, and you can check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff win totals, conference Heisman college football week 1 lines. We'll primarily visit with him about the big games coming up this weekend. And we'll do that at 3:20. 4:20, as I mentioned, Greg Cosell. 5:20, Raone Foster, Big Savagery, Ramon and Will, weekday morning, 6 until 10 on 104.5 The Zone. Yeah, that first day of 3HL, it was interesting because we were taking, it was me, Blaine Bishop, and Clay Travis, and we were taking over for Jim Rome.
Yeah.
And no one knew. And so we flipped the mic on, and it was not Jim Rome. And, you know, like Rome has loyal listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that entire show. I loved Blaine. I knew what to get from Blaine. I didn't know much about Clay, although my guess was like, okay, he knows where the line is. Is he going to jump over it or walk up to it? And I really didn't know. So we got done with that first show, and we're like, I mean, it felt like it went well. But then we didn't get much pop back from Rome people, so we were good. And then, that was January 2010. Zach Lyons in the studio. Zach, what's up?
Hello. I'm doing good. I'm having to sit on my knees because I am too short for this chair.
How about that?
He's sitting in Slade's chair, which that's a big seat.
Yeah, it's a big seat to fill in. I wish now I would have wore some Alabama crimson just to sit in this seat and see what he would have done.
Did I see an Alabama logo on your car?
You did. Yeah, you did.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met, because we were both Alabama fans, actually, to be honest with you.
We were mutuals on Twitter, and one day he just DM'd me and said,
slid in them DMs.
Stoney, I didn't realize you were an Alabama fan.
Yeah.
We should get a beer sometime. And then we got a beer one time, and then we started working together, and we realized, I don't want to speak for you, Zach, but I realized, like, man, we can do some really good work together without strangling one another.
Yeah. Well, and it's I love the Football and Other F Words outlet for y'all because you can just let it loose. And
it's fun.
So they haven't fired us yet either. So
that's right. Good. So for people that don't know what Football and Other F Words is, why don't you give the rundown there?
So it's a podcast. So it's basically, it started out as our Fantasy Football League podcast before Stoney joined on between me and, for most people that know, Mike Herndon and his brother and my brother-in-law, then our other friend, Mr. Lebowski, and all this kind of other stuff. So like, it started off just as a fantasy football league, turned into a fantasy or Titan-centric fan podcast, and we have some beers and talk football, which is pretty much what it's supposed to be, right? Like when you talk football, it should feel like you're just a part of one of the guys or part of the friend group. And so from there, just kind of started taking off, and we kind of took it a little bit more seriously as the years went on. And it's just about being authentic, and we're fans at the end of the day. And I felt like this market didn't really have an objective fan point of view. Like you can have your fandom and all this kind of stuff like in the podcast community. Mm-hmm. And so we blended. So that's where I started getting into analytics, and that's where Mike started getting into film watching. And then we brought in Stoney because he was an NFL draft, quote unquote expert. Better hit rate than most people, I would have to say. Brag on him.
I cringe every time somebody calls me an expert. Yeah, I just watch a lot of tape and share what I learned.
Well, I love that. A lot of things about you. I'll just go ahead and say.
Thank you.
I loved that you were all in on Jackson Slater, and then the Titans drafted him. Yeah. So I can't wait to get your take on him, and I can't wait to listen to your questions with Greg Cosell, so you guys can.
I got a few prepped.
Yeah,
I'm stoked.
Where can people find that?
We'll be on right after 3HL on YouTube. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, 104.5 The Zone. Of course, wherever you get your podcast, you can just search Football and Other F Words, and boom, we're there. Look at that.
About it.
Wherever.
Love it.
Yeah.
Alabama, Florida State.
Oh, Alabama's winning.
Oh, minus 13.5 all day long.
Oh, yeah.
It's up to 14 now, but I think they blow them out.
Yeah. I was looking today at like NFL draft prospects for me, all the SEC games. So that's something we're going to talk about in Cover 2 tomorrow. And I was looking at this big consensus draft board and everything and making sure I didn't miss anybody. And I was looking at Florida State, and all their guys are like in the 400s. Draft prospects. And I'm like, this ain't going to be even close.
That Senior Bowl watch list came out last week, and there's a handful of Seminoles on it. But then you flip to the front of it where the Alabama section is. It's like 20 dudes. Yeah. It's like more than the starters that are on NFL teams' radars.
Yeah. It's insane.
So four waiver wire pickups yesterday, but two other signees, Shai Tuttle and Clay Webb. Clay Webb was at the Senior Bowl. What did you guys think about him coming over from Denver?
The first
5-star player at Georgia originally.
And then he, of course, went to Jacksonville State. I don't know if that was due to playing time or lack of playing time because Jared Wilson was ahead of him
I think
at
that's
Georgia.
What it was, yeah.
But he ended up at Jacksonville State, and I think he's from around there. When I looked at yesterday, I think he's from down in Florida or Alabama in that area. And the first thing you notice about him is that he doesn't wear gloves. And if you're an offensive lineman that doesn't wear gloves, you deserve like 10 more rounds higher in the NFL draft.
I mean, that's basically like Kyle Vanden Bosch wearing the red contact lenses. Like you just look and you see that and you immediately, it strikes fear in your heart if you're trying to go up against
Who'd he put in the dirt at one of those? Is him and Jackson Slater back to back, right? In that one day?
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember who he put in the dirt. I'd have to go look up my notes. But
I know there was a rep with against Deion Walker, the defensive tackle from Kentucky.
Maybe that's
that was like 400 pounds or whatever.
Huge.
And Clay Webb he's got that low center of gravity. He's a squatty, powerful guy.
Yeah.
He just got low, exploded up into this dude's chest and just immediately took him off his feet, stood him up. The play was over.
He's one of those guys that we kind of felt like that would be a Bill Callahan guy.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Like that seems like a Bill Callahan. And sure enough, here he is. So we were both kind of like Clay Webb, Jackson Slater. And now they're both here at the Tennessee Titans. It's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. We'll talk more about all these Titans topics. I can't wait to pick your brain, Stoney, today. And we'll talk college football next. However, Zeph has some news.
Oh.
What you got, Zeph?
Actually, some Tennessee basketball news.
Okay.
In August, Rick Barnes has signed a lifetime contract with the Tennessee Volunteers. He will earn $6 million per year on his lifetime contract, and it will always have 3 years remaining on it no matter what. He can coach at Tennessee as long as he wants, never have to worry about a job.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is interesting. That's kind of crazy.
You know, it's funny. As you were saying that, Zeph, I started thinking about like how I bet we see this happen more now.
Yeah. Have we seen that happen before?
We have had lifetime contracts, haven't we? Or as long as you want to coach kind of thing. But, I mean, that makes sense. And you know, for recruiting purposes, sometimes, like, when contracts don't get extended, that's when it gets used against you, which is why you always see, 1 year added every year.
Like we just saw with Josh Heupel.
Josh Heupel, yep. So, lifetime contract for Rick Barnes. Thank you, Zeph. I know you love your Tennessee breaking news.
It's kind of scary. How do you get out of that? What if you change your mind? If it's a lifetime contract, what are they going to have to do to Rick Barnes if they want to let him go?
I guess murder him. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, buddy. A little nervous.
Thanks for popping in, Zach.
No problem.
Football and other F words.
I'll be listening.
Yep,
be in that chat.
Thank you.
See how short this is for me?
Look like a little kid over there.
I mean, come on. I mean, why don't chairs have...
If you look at the stream, you are like 2 heads below where Brent and Stoney are.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I was sitting on my knees the whole time. There you go. All right, see you guys.
There's a joke in there somewhere. All right, coming up, we'll talk college football and get some picks from Danny Cannell next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? You feeling a little down? Well, you got somewhere to go? Well, listen here. I'm telling you right now, it's time to get active. How are you going to do it, though? How are you going to get that system of yours rebooted and back to working, putting what in you need not to come out? That's where the IVs come in. MedicalHouseCalls.com. Healthcare designed for your life. Listen, men hate going to the doctors, right? I'm telling you, fellas, I know I do. And the doctors, unless you got a cool doctor, doctor's office and how convenient it is to have them come to you, this is what Medical House Calls does. They come right to your door, schedule your appointment, and get, boom, in there. 615-838-2375, whether it's at-home urgent care, mobile IV therapy, all of these things that you can get taken care of. Feeling a little sick, your son or your daughter under the weather, well, no need missing school. We'll get Medical House Calls to come right on over. You can't play those little games no more. The doctor comes to you. This is exactly what happens 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 7 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Same-day appointments are available. Next day is guaranteed. MedicalHouseCalls.com.
3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty with you. Dawn and Slay both on assignment. Stoney Keeley filling in. Glad to have you, brother.
Happy to be here.
Going to talk some college football now. Danny Cannell joins us, former Florida State NFL quarterback, courtesy of BetOnline. Check out betonline.ag for updated college football, playoff odds, win totals, conference, Heisman, college football week 1 lines. And Danny, what's up, man? Every time you come on, seemingly Dawn is not here.
I know. I think she's scared of me, Brent. I think she is.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, she's a little intimidated by my presence when I come on. She knows I'm going to give her a hard time, hold the SEC accountable. I got to know, Brent, what am I getting into with Stoney? Is Stoney another SEC guy I'm dealing with?
Well, he's got an Alabama logo on his car.
Oh, my
so
gosh, even worse. Even worse with the Florida State showdown. I'm actually, as soon as we're done, I'm actually hopping in the car with 2 of my daughters, and we're driving to Tallahassee. I'm going to be there for the game this weekend, doing a little work with CBS Sports HQ. So
awesome. I
cannot wait, but I might not be able to answer any of Stoney's questions though.
So are you digging your quarterback out there on just saying whatever he wants all over the place?
Heck no. What is he doing? Why on earth would you kick off? Like, you kicked the hornet's nest. Alabama is salty after the way last season unfolded, right? 9-3, missed the playoffs. Yep. They get beaten in Michigan in a bowl game by Michigan. They're salty. So they're surly. They want to get back on the right track. If I was him, I would have been saying, man, I just hope we have a chance. Like, they are so good. I hope I don't get killed. Instead, he goes out there and says he's going to be running out and making plays. He's insulting Kalen DeBoer, saying they miss Nick Saban. I don't know what he's thinking, but I will say this. I mean, this was not my mentality. I played for Coach Bowden, who kind of had the sandbagging mentality, too. It was always like, oh, this team is so good. But if it's who you are, if that's what motivates you, if that's what gets you going, then by all means, go ahead and talk that smack. But you better back it up, because one of two, if you don't, Alabama fans are going to let him hear about it. But you know who else is? Florida State fans are going to let him hear about it. Like, oh, you were talking all that smack and you didn't bet him back. You didn't have your back. So I wouldn't do it, but, if he goes out there and balls out, then by all means, go ahead. You know what's funny? I absolutely love it. I love Diego Pavia in this market. We had him on from SEC Media Days. He dropped one F-bomb and said the S word twice in a live interview. That dude is so confident, and I don't know what the situation is in the Florida State locker room, but in the Vanderbilt locker room, it really radiates and has kind of changed the mentality. Now, they're not going to be able to sneak up on anybody this year, and they're going to get everybody's best, and that's a tough schedule and all those things. But I do love that player. So I kind of like it when players do that, just to show personality. Now, Diego, maybe he was, and it didn't get enough, much attention. Remember, Clark Lee said, we want to build the best football program in the country, and people kind of mock that, Yeah. So even from the coach, I do think there is something to, being confident, talking confidently to your teammates. I just don't love doing it to the media. And at least Diego Pavia, his resume is better than Tommy Castellanos's. He did knock off Alabama. He did win a bowl game. He did have Texas on the ropes. He's done a little bit more. And maybe it is one of those things where Tommy Castellanos is trying to speak some confidence into existence, but the only way to win the confidence of your teammates is by going and doing it on the field. So he's going to have an opportunity to do that on Saturday. Well, which way are we going there? Alabama, a 13.5-point favorite. I've seen it go up to 14 at some books. Yeah, I kind of have to. I can't come on here and just say Florida State's going to get waxed at home, even though I think I'm like a lot of Florida State fans. Yeah. I think we're kind of shell-shocked from last season. Like, holy crap, what just happened? A 2-win season. I will say this, so I'll talk myself into Florida State because I do think they have some things going for it. One, they have a new offense with Gus Malzahn, who I do think pairs well with a quarterback like Thomas Castellanos, who can run around. He's mobile. I think they'll get his legs going. You've got a defensive coordinator who's new, who's running a 3-3-5 defense, which allows you to bring some blitzes that come from all over the place that could confuse Ty Simpson. And you do have a couple injuries for Alabama. They just lost their best defensive tackle inside, and they lost their running back last week. So maybe that levels the playing field a little bit. my favorite play in this game is a first half play. Like, I think Florida State, you'll get their best shot early. It's a plus 7.5 is the first half line. I think they're going to try to keep it as close as possible. I'm a little bit worried. Like, they got to hang on for dear life to get used to the physicality of Alabama. And then the reason I don't like the whole game is I do worry depth-wise. I mean, Bama's got guys all over the field. I do feel like this is one of those games, even maybe kind of replicating what Nick Saban used to do. You kind of like a heavyweight battle. You take a bunch of body blows, and then you just keep the body blows coming until the knockout punch comes. And I worry a little bit that Alabama could pull late. So I'd love to see the miracle of miracles and see Florida State win, but there's just way too many question marks around that team for me to back them.
Danny, we got this Texas-Ohio State matchup on Saturday that is just massive, but I'm looking on down the line for this one because I'm a cheap guy. I like value, and so I want to know if you see the loser in this game becoming an interesting value in the national championship futures as the college football playoff race develops on into the season. Like, maybe there might be an initial shockwave, like they're not going to be in the hunt, but
yeah,
is this a case where the loser is probably going to be back in it by the time we get to December?
Yes. I mean, I do think both of these teams are good enough, and you might see them come out and one of them struggle. I actually like the under in this game because I think there's way too many question marks on both offensive side of the ball. You know, two new quarterbacks going at it. Texas has to replace a lot of wide receiving talent. Ohio State has to replace both running backs in the backfield. They have a new play caller. But to your point, Stoney, I think that's a smart play because there is zero chance I'm touching Arch Manning at plus 700. 7-1 odds, forget it. I am not touching Texas as the favorite to win the national championship. And I never like teams to go back-to-back anyway, so I'm kind of tentative on Ohio State. It's really hard to go back-to-back. It's the hardest thing in all of sports. But you're right. There will be a massive overreaction. And I kind of like Ohio State in this game because it's at home. But if Texas loses this one and if Arch Manning struggles, which I wouldn't be surprised, like it's his first road game in a hostile environment, I think he might struggle a little bit. If those odds drop and people kind of write him off and say, oh, you know, he's overrated, he's overhyped, which clearly he is because it's impossible to reach the hype that's been set for him, then I think it would be a good time to snatch up some Arch Manning or some Texas national championship odds when they're kind of cast aside because Steve Sarkisian's been back-to-back Final Fours. He's knocking on the door. It's getting close. And a lot of times it just takes time for teams to figure out position battles, you know, iron out the kinks with a new quarterback, kind of find their footing under them. And Texas' schedule is not that bad. Everybody talks about the SEC schedules, how tough they are. Last year, it was very manageable for them. And this one's another one. They have a little tricky trip to Athens, but they could be 10-2 and still get in the playoffs and have that chance. And like we saw last year, Ohio State was 10-2. They get into playoffs as the fourth best team in the Big Ten, and they win it all. So I like your line of thinking, Sony.
How difficult is it to get a read on a game of this magnitude when it's week one and we don't really have any tape of either of these teams to watch right now? I mean, does that make you a little
coordinators?
A little tentative in betting this one?
Totally. I get nervous on a lot of these. I would lean to a lot more unders as well, especially in a game like this where you just see so much newness. Defense is more reactionary. Like you just, see ball, get ball. Like it's, no matter what, you can kind of run base defenses. Even if you kind of miss a block, you could run and go make up for the tackle. Offense, more timing, more rhythm, and quarterbacks. I mean, we saw that in week 0. That first half of that Kansas State-Iowa State game, you saw drop passes. You saw quarterbacks airmailing guys. You saw penalties. It's just kind of a slog early. And I have a theory behind it because I know we call it training camp, but I feel like we should call it sleepaway camp because when I was in training camp, we had 2 practices a day. Oftentimes, both of them were fully padded. We definitely went every day, full speed, live tackling. Now, teams hardly tackle at all because we're so worried about player health and safety. There's a walkthrough in the morning and then kind of an easy practice in the afternoon. The next day, there's a padded practice, but you don't go live. And then there's a walkthrough in the afternoon. It's a lot of mental reps, but they can't even practice tackling really much anymore. So I think it kind of leads to a little bit of a sloppier opening, kind of series for a lot of these games that unfold. And I think it's just kind of sloppy football across the board.
Yeah, I've taken several unders. I'm with you on that. Danny Cannell joins us courtesy of Bet Online. All right, Babs' team, Auburn at Baylor. Auburn by 2.5. What do you think about this?
Oh, man. This feels like such a dumpster fire in the making. And I'm talking about Auburn, in case you guys haven't figured it out. And I like Hugh Freeze. I thought he was going to be a good hire, and maybe he still is, and maybe it'll work out. But we're talking, he's mentioned that he's going to have 3 different play callers, one for first down, one for second down, one for third down. And I'm sitting there thinking, I have never heard of this my entire life being around the sport of football. I hope it's something that he's kind of playing mind games, or maybe it's a contractual situation where they're trying to make it look like there's a play caller so a guy can get a little bit more pay bump. And then I hear he's going to play 3 different quarterbacks potentially. How many different combinations is that? 27 combinations? I guess maybe that's what you're trying to throw at Baylor. And then the fact that Jackson Arnold, it seems like, has a confidence issue. Hugh Freeze has said he's tried to script practices so that, Jackson Arnold can get his confidence up.
Yeah.
You can't script games. You're not going to be able to say, hey, Dave Aranda, Baylor coach, can you make this one a little bit easier? Can you give us a lot of cover 2 on this one? No, you don't get that luxury. And I do think Baylor's a really good football team. Sawyer Robertson, their quarterback, watch out for him to have a monster season. Dave Aranda is back calling the plays for the defense. I'm sure he's got something special cooking. The one thing that concerns me is Auburn does have a couple wide receivers on the outside, Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman on the outside, that might be some of the best wide receivers in the country. If Jackson Arnold, and we're all wrong about him, and he cooks, then watch out. But I have a feeling Baylor is a live dog playing at home. They're a really good football team.
Interesting. Danny Cannell with us, courtesy of Bet Online. Georgia Tech at Colorado. Danny, Georgia Tech by 4.5. This game on Friday also. Am I wrong to love the Yellow Jackets in this role?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. I just talking about turnover. I mean, Shedeur Sanders really put so much of that offense on his back. I mean, so much so they were last in the country in rushing because they just threw it all over the field. They had a great quarterback who could manage the game and made great throws. And you throw in the fact that they lose, Travis Hunter, who's the best kind of football player I've seen on producing on both sides of the ball in the last 20 years of college football. And that's a big question mark for me, is how do they replace those? Now, he did name a starter, Caden Salter, who's a pretty interesting quarterback, was undefeated a couple years ago at Liberty, then last year had a little bit of a setback. I think he's going to be a more mobile quarterback. I think that offense is going to look totally different. But when I think of Brent Key at Georgia Tech, and I remember what he did to Florida State last year in week 0, and he comes on, he goes, we want to run the ball in that Southern drawl. I think they're going to be more physical than Colorado. And Haynes King is a quarterback that I really like. I think he's kind of flying under the radar. He's pretty dynamic. He's the quarterback that almost pulled off the upset versus Georgia. I think he's a great leader for that team. They've got a very clear identity. And I think Colorado is still going to have to figure it out a little bit this season. So I'm with you. I'm laying the points with Georgia Tech on the road.
Danny, if you will indulge me, I want to pander to our audience a little bit and talk to our Big Orange fan listeners.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Kentucky only being a 9.5-point favorite hosting Toledo this weekend? I mean, what's going on with these Wildcats, man? What's up in Lexington?
I worry about Lexington. I worry about Mark Stoops because I think he's one of the better football coaches in the country, and he's done a phenomenal job in making Kentucky into a team that I think went to 6 or 7 bowl games in a row. That's pretty remarkable to be able to beat the Florida Gators, 2 out of 3 years for the first time, and they hadn't beaten them in 30 years. He's done some incredible things. I do worry a little bit about a couple things. One, he was on the runway, ready to go to Texas A&M to take that job before Mike Elko did. I do think he lost some goodwill from the fans, from the boosters. And I don't know if they're thriving in the NIL marketplace the way some other teams are. I think they're competing with the basketball, school for sure, for funds.
Yeah.
And their roster, I think, is really an uphill battle. I mean, they just announced Zach Calzada, the starter. The dude's I think this is his 5th stop, and he's back in the SEC after being a couple different places. Then he went to Incarnate Word and did have a nice season last year. But the roster just looks pretty barren. So if Kentucky is able to get to a bowl game this season, I think it might be one of the Coach of the Year awards, but I don't expect much from the Wildcats this season.
I think that's about to implode up there.
Yeah,
that's a great point. All right, number 24, Tennessee and Syracuse. Syracuse lost a ton of production. Tennessee did too. Don't know what they have with Aguilar. Hear various things about what he may or may not be. But Tennessee by 13.5. I'm staying away from this one. Danny, I don't know where you are.
Yeah, I don't love this one. I mean, I guess if I was leaning one direction, I might take Syracuse. I do like Fran Brown as a head coach.
Yep.
He really has his players. I mean, they're coming off a 10-win season, but their schedule was so easy last year, and it is completely the opposite for Syracuse. I think they have a top 3 schedule. They play 4 teams that made the playoffs last year, including Tennessee. Now, I know some of those teams lost some pieces. By the way, the next 3 after Tennessee, neutral site, they're all on the road for Syracuse. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for them. And I don't know what I'm going to get from Tennessee, but I do think the offense could be a little bit of an adjustment period. I was really excited about Nico and seeing what he could have done as an other year of development. Mm-hmm. But then I was one of those people who were saying, good for Josh Heupel for taking a stand. Don't let a player hijack your program. And I think there were a lot of coaches, a lot of players, a lot of analysts who felt the same way. And then they were like, oh, but now they got to go out and get a quarterback, and they have this weird kind of trade that unfolds as Joey Aguilar is at UCLA, and he comes into town. He's not the same talent that you've got from Nico. But I will say this, Nico's numbers were not phenomenal last year. You know, like he was average, and I think Joey Aguilar could be average, but they don't have Dylan Sampson in the backfield. You know, like that was such a huge edge for them to have the best rusher in the SEC in the backfield. They'll have to replace him. The defense still has some pretty good players. I know James Pierce Jr. is gone, but I do think that defense will be pretty good. I think this year could be a little bit more challenging for Josh Heupel, and I hope that people aren't, you know, crushing him for, you know, making the wrong decision on Nico, because there'd be a lot of people who had the other side of the view. I'll stick to my guns and say good for him for doing it. I hope, you know, if you have to take some lumps, you have to take some lumps. But I do think it could be a little bit bumpy early. So I would lean towards Syracuse with those points, but I don't love it either. I'm with you.
Is this another under play, despite the fast track, 51.5?
The only thing that makes me, you know, kind of nervous about is these two teams, they do have pretty good offensive minds. You know, like Josh Heupel sometimes figures out how to scheme guys open. And Syracuse, I know they have a new quarterback as well, and Steve Angeli, who you remember he came in for a little relief appearance in the playoffs last year when he was at Notre Dame.
Did well,
but he missed all of spring. But if you remember last year, their quarterback, Kyle McCord, led the country in passing yards. Like they threw it all over the yard. But I guess kind of, you know, we were having that conversation before. I do think those offenses might struggle a little bit, but they're a little bit more big play offenses. I might like a first half under better in that one. Because I feel like those offensive coordinators, those offensive minds kind of figure things out, and they both have big play potential just from schemes of what they can draw up.
Danny, what's your sneaky good matchup of the weekend that you feel like people are sleeping on?
I think there's some great matchups. I'll go. I mean, tonight, Cincinnati against Nebraska.
I love that.
I love that. Really good game.
Yeah.
I love that game. How about a game that starts in an hour? The USF Boise State game, which is in Tampa. I think South Florida is a live dog in that one. Boise State has to replace Ashton Genty. Like, they've got massive question marks. The quarterback for USF is a baller, Byron Brown. He missed last season, the back end of it, because he had an injury. He's back healthy now. I think they could have their hands full. Boise State playing on the road. And then I don't think this is going to sneak up on anybody. I mean, there's some great games. I was going to give you South Carolina versus Virginia Tech on Sunday. But how about Monday night? How about the debut of Bill Belichick? That one's not going to sneak up on anybody because it's going to be all over everybody's TVs. The only game on Monday night. But him playing against TCU as a home underdog, that's a really interesting game. TCU has a really good quarterback in Josh Hoover. I honestly have absolutely zero idea what you're going to get out of North Carolina, but I guarantee I'll be tuning in to watch to see what that defensive mastermind has cooked up for a college quarterback. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, North Carolina was favored, and now TCU, it's completely flipped, and I hear that there's money coming in on Belichick now. So we'll see. I'm definitely intrigued by that one. And you're right, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, college football for 5 days in a row. LSU at Clemson. What about that one, Danny? Another top 10 matchup. Is that a potential underplay too?
Yes, I do think so. I would probably lean again another first half under. My play in this game is Clemson, though. I'm backing the Tigers. I'm going to back them with a land 3.5. Here's what worries me. Clemson's a team that I trust. I trust their offense. Cade Klubnik, I know he sputtered out of the gate last year, but at the back end of the season and the playoff loss to Texas, I thought he played as good against Texas's defense as anybody in the country. And they've got, a new defensive coordinator in Tom Allen, who you would hope would shore up the run defense, which was a little bit of a sieve last year. But I feel like their offensive line I trust. I trust their receivers. They have 3 outstanding receivers on the outside. And here's what makes me nervous for LSU. 4 out of 5 offensive linemen they're replacing. And they were pretty good along the, they were pretty good along the offensive front. They had some guys drafted in the NFL. And Garrett Nussmeier is as pure as a pocket passer as there is. He is not very mobile. He's one of the few quarterbacks in the country who had negative rushing yardage because he doesn't run the football. And I know they want him to try to run it a little bit more, but I think on the road, hostile environment, and even Brian Kelly said he's going to shift around offensive linemen, like rotate them in to figure out a rotation up front. That makes me nervous for them up front. And Garrett Nussmeier is a really good quarterback, but last year he struggled on the road as well. So this feels, you talk about a must-win game for both of them. Last year, Clemson was 0-3 versus the SEC. In openers, Brian Kelly has been winless as the LSU head coach. He's made that a priority. It's one of those kind of cliche, something's got to give games, but I do lean towards the home favorite in that one with Clemson.
On the way out, give us a little quick Notre Dame, Miami. Notre Dame a slight favorite on the road at Miami. Carson Beck obviously making the start for the Hurricanes.
I'm Danny Canunder right now because I love the under on the total game in this one.
I do too.
It was at 51. I think it might be a 49.5 now, but I still think it's pretty safe. I think this is going to have a 2017 type feel, some 24-20 type of final score. You've got a first-year, quarterback, both of them. Now, Carson Beck, we've seen a lot of him, but he's learning a new system. Mario Cristobal wants to be physical. I think he wants to establish the run. And then Notre Dame has the best running back in the country in Jeremiah Love in their backfield. And they've got C.J. Carr. The only thing most people know about him is he's grandson of Lloyd Carr. We haven't seen him do anything outside of that history that he's got with his dad being a Michigan coach. It's kind of a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
But he is sort of a pocket passer, and he barely edged out a young quarterback there, Kenny Minchey, who, was a more mobile guy. And they thought about going with him and maybe even see him in this game. But I would have to imagine Notre Dame is going to limit his exposure in the pass game and try to run it down Miami's throat. And Miami is a really good defensive front. So I don't see them just waltzing up and down the field. I think that could be a little bit more of a slugfest. And I'll be really curious because I'm torn on the Miami Hurricanes. I do think they could be good, but this is one of those games that could set the course for the season. If they beat Notre Dame at home, I'll probably go all in and say, you know what, they can make the ACC title game. But if they lose, I think they could be a 9-3 or 8-4 team because in another couple weeks they have the Florida Gators. Then they have to go to Tallahassee for a game against Florida State. Like, that schedule does not get any easier. I feel like this is a huge momentum game for Miami. So something to keep an eye on after that game.
Danny Cannell, thanks to Bet Online. Always love having you on, Danny. It's good to hear your voice, man. And college football is here. Love it. And I also love reading your mentions when I get bored.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's always a good time. I don't let my daughters read it, though. It's too nasty.
I see you, Danny. Appreciate you, man.
You guys enjoy the weekend.
Yep, you too. Former Florida State and NFL quarterback Danny Cannell, courtesy of Bet Online. Check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff odds for win totals, conference, Heisman, college football week 1 lines. Always love talking college football. When we come back, we'll dive into some Titans talk with Stoney next. How ready is Cam Ward? We'll talk about it. If you want in, 615-737-1045.
All right, so on top of now a bad haircut from mom, baby Babs also has a runny nose and a cough. So I am going to call medical house calls because it is impossible to get in with a pediatrician nowadays that fits with your schedule. Maybe you are working parents and you totally understand this. That's where Medical House Calls comes in. All you have to do, call or text Medical House Calls. Their teams will assess what you need within minutes. Medical providers at your door, delivering you the care that gets you back ASAP. And if you need prescription medication, that is all included for a flat fee, evaluation, full exam, treatment plan, and then prescriptions if needed. You don't even have to go pick them up at the pharmacy either. They do in-home labs, testing, and much more as well. So we know your time is precious. Medical House Calls is here to help you with that. It's healthcare designed for your life. 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. They have same-day appointments available and next day guaranteed. 615-838 838-2375. That's 838-2375 with school getting ready to start. Make sure you keep this number and this website in your phone so they can come to you and help you out. Medical House Calls at medicalhousecalls.com.
Ken Weaver, baby, he's excited. I love it. We are too. Brent Doherty, Stoney Keeley in the studio today. Filling in for Babs and Slay, who are both on assignment. Tomorrow, we will be broadcasting live from Yazoo Brewing Company out in Madison. So we'd love to see you out there. Zone's going to be out there from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. The Buck Rising Show, Cover 2, 3HL, all broadcasting live. And filling in tomorrow, I think you're going to be out there too, right? On some level?
I'm going to be out there, but I'm going to just hang out with everybody and drink beers until I have to call my wife to come get me.
You and Bert. That's what Bert does. Calls Cheyenne to come get him wherever he is. 104.5 The Zone's college football kickoff tomorrow. Yazoo Brewing Company in Madison, thanks to Porch Factory and Logo Brands. To learn more, visit 1045thezone.com/events. On 3HL with me tomorrow is the Miracle Man, Dr. Kevin Dyson, and Moonshine, Mark Mariani.
Be a good show.
It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. They are too. We've been texting this week, as me and you have, and looking forward to it. Titans defensive tackle De'Vondre Sweat back at practice today. You concerned about him at all?
You know, there is a part of me because it's we've got multiple things going on at this point. At one point, it was like an abdomen thing. Then he had his tonsils out.
Yeah,
and I was wondering, like, are the tonsils in the abdomen? What's going on here? I don't know. And I keep saying if there was reason for concern, we would pick up on it from the coaching staff, and there doesn't seem to be any concern. So I'll take them at their word for it for now. But I will say this, I will be concerned if Sweat does have to miss any time, because I think he's going to be a critical component of this defense this season.
Brian Callahan met with the media today and talked about De'Vondre Sweat getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, he seems good right now. He was involved in practice all week. He'll be in, again, injury designations. We'll see how the next week shapes out for him, but expect him to be in pretty good spot. For him right now, it's just a conditioning and football shape. He's missed a decent amount of time in there, so it's just getting him back up to speed with the conditioning and with the pads. And so that's why we practice some pads today, is to keep a bit of our edge. Feel good about that process.
Getting back into football shape. We're talking about a couple of dudes. Jerry Sneed's another one.
And brother, it's 10 days away.
Right?
It's 10 days away.
10 days away. I love it. X, next up, 615-737-1045. What up, X?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Good, man.
I'm going to see y'all tomorrow.
Awesome.
But I called earlier, Buck and his co-host was hating because that man said Alabama was going to win the SEC. That's trash. We ain't even going to talk on that. But I was trying to get your Dawn's not here, but I wanted to get on her about this Auburn situation. But I'm going to wait till she get on. I'm going to wait till she come back to work.
Yeah, Monday. She'll be back on Monday.
Oh, well, it's football season, so, I call in every week now. And
Yeah.
I'm single, so I can't get in trouble for calling y'all when I get through. But,
there you go.
So I was just wondering, what do y'all think about this new 53-man roster? I get the changes that they made, and we got more depth, with Shy Tuttle coming in, but receiver-wise, are y'all concerned a little bit as far as injury-wise, or just get your opinion on the offensive side?
Thank you, X. Appreciate it, man. Look forward to hearing more from you. I was going to go there with you. The 53-man roster, any surprises there? Anything that stood out?
I was really surprised that they didn't add an edge rusher. And I know they got the kid from the Ravens practice squad that went to Missouri Western. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I don't know much about him. Yeah, it's
CJ Ravenel.
CJ
There we
Ravenel.
go, Joseph. Yeah. He is a big body, 6'5", 300-pound guy. He's not – I think he was listed as a defensive end in some sources, but if you look at the Titans website, they have him listed as a defensive line. To me, he kind of feels like the developmental path behind Draymond Jones. So I was surprised that they didn't go out and add a pure pass rusher. And I know Mike Borgonzi was asked about that today, and he said, we're happy with the guys that we have in the room. But right now, that is – man, that's my biggest area of concern for this team right now. And they continue to add corners. They continue to add depth along the defensive line. I think it speaks to how they feel about their cornerback depth, and I think it speaks to how urgently they feel like they got to stop the run because they keep adding these defensive linemen.
Yeah, Mike Borgonzi did talk about the Titans edge group today.
We're always looking for every position, but our edge group has done a good job. We added Ward in here and Draymond in the offseason, and then having Harold here, back here. You can play some special teams as well. So that process of evaluating position groups never ends. We went through and evaluated what could come free here in the preseason, and we felt good about where the guys we had.
Wide receiver group he mentioned. We'll talk about that when we come back. Also, we didn't get into Cam Ward. We will. How ready is Cam Ward? Brent Doherty, Stoney Keeley, 3HL 1045 The Zone. Want to tell you about a way to improve your house dramatically. Smoky Mountain Tops, house, condo, townhouse, whatever you got, they can basically give you a new space, and they'll do that with incredible custom countertops. And Smoky Mountain Tops, you can find them online, smtops.com. smtops.com. Maybe you're thinking about upgrading your kitchen and your bathroom. The experts at Smoky Mountain Tops, you can trust them. Tennessee's leader in premium stone surfaces for more than 30 years. Mike McGrady and his crew will really do an incredible job for you. I've trusted Smoky Mountain Tops for several home projects for many years, and their craftsmanship speaks for itself. Check out the stunning Haunstone quartz at their Nashville design studio. Haunstone quartz, offering elegance and durability, elevating any space. Smoky Mountain Tops has teamed up with Haunstone Quartz, which perfectly captures the natural beauty and depth of quartzite stone countertops. Check out Haunstone's Opimo collection, as seen at Smoky Mountain Tops' studio. Haunstone offering durable surfaces, including neutrals or striking bold design, offering timeless elegance. Smoky Mountain Tops, 615-922-6539. Quality, service, dedication. Smoky Mountain Tops, your trusted countertop pros. smtops.com.
Well, I will speak in an absolute for you and absolutely tell you that if you want insanely clean carpets, you need to call my friends at Zero Res. I know getting your carpets cleaned, not the most exciting thing in the world. It is for me personally because mine are so dirty. But maybe now that the kids are back in school, it's time to take back your home. Get your home carpets, your tiles, your upholstery restored to look like new with Zero Res. And here is the deal. Insanely clean carpets. Zero Res cleans with ZR water. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals. So their water technology cleans and sanitizes your surfaces without the use of those harsh chemicals. Your carpet stays cleaner longer, and your surfaces dry twice as fast as well. Highest approval rating possible from the Carpet and Rug Institute. Zero Res rated the #1 cleaning system in the nation. So when they clean, nothing is left behind. And for August, they've got an awesome promotion. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109, 20% off cleaning area rugs, upholstery, air ducts, and much more. Some restrictions apply. Call at 615-535-9376 or book online at zeroresnashville.com. That's Zero Res. You spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. And don't forget to ask about air duct cleaning.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Good afternoon. It's 4:02. I'm Joseph Bonanno, live from the Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs Studios. Breaking news in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys are trading All-Pro defensive end Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, and they agreed to a 4-year, $188 million deal, including $136 million guaranteed. At $47 million per year, Parsons is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, and he nets 2 first-rounders headed back to Dallas. In Titans news today, they were back on the field as they continued to get ready for their Week 1 game against the Broncos. Kevin Winston Jr. and Khalil Mullins returned but worked on the side field. Devondre Sweat was a full participant. No sign of J.C. Latham. In college basketball news today, Tennessee Athletic Director Danny White announced that the school has signed head coach Rick Barnes to a lifetime contract. Barnes will earn $6 million per year on his lifetime contract, and it will always have 3 years remaining on it, essentially making Barnes the Tennessee coach as long as he wants to be or until he decides to retire. For your foundation repair, whatever needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. Babs and Slay both out today. Stoney Keeley in the studio, and Zeph Dog had something creative for him. Stoney, welcome, hour 2 for you.
Man, I'm surprised they had some audio that had safe for radio words in it when Jackson Slater got drafted. That was a pretty intense moment.
We will talk about your love affair with Jackson Slater. It might be one-sided, I don't know, but we'll find out. Zeph Dog is the executive producer of 3HL.
What's up?
So Zach was taking credit for finding audio for you.
Yes, he did help me because they've been doing Football Night Efforts for a while now, and I didn't even know where to start, which episodes to start looking in for audio. So he had a couple memories, and he sent me some stuff, and it all worked out.
It's crazy memory that guy has.
Steel Trap. Thursday edition. You can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
The F&M Bank chat is open. Special guest host, as we mentioned, Stoney Keeley sitting in the studio. Thank you for doing it. Seriously.
Happy really to be here, man.
You popping in, and thanks for listening to 3HL in January of 2010. That was pretty random.
Yeah, that was it was a dark time in my life, too. You guys got me through some rough
Well, I'm sorry about that.
days.
I'm glad we're here. In all seriousness, we're mindful of people going through whatever they're going through, listening. You never know.
Yeah.
And so we don't take that lightly. So we try to be an entertaining, element to maybe help people forget, at least for a minute, some of the problems they're going through. But just all y'all need to know this and hear this, that you are loved, whether you think that or not. I don't know that that's where you were going with it, but that's where
I was more like, I hate this job I'm at right now. And
very mindful of that, too. I just explained that to a guy yesterday. He's like, man, I love when I get off work and I can listen to y'all.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I mean, we think about that guy, too. Like the guy that's at a job he doesn't like, and maybe he's in a situation he doesn't like, and maybe we can be kind of an escape from that.
That's what it was for me.
Well, cool. So the breaking news is obviously Micah Parsons. They got it done. Dallas got him dealt. That's amazing. So he goes to Green Bay. Should I be surprised? I'm surprised. When Zeph said that in our ear, I was like, I'm really surprised they got that deal done. And maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. But hell of a player, obviously. 4 years, $188 million. They get the deal done with Green Bay. 136 guaranteed. How about that?
2 first-rounders in there, too.
Two first-rounders going
crazy.
back to Dallas, according to
that guy.
Ian Rappaport.
There we go.
So
Thank you. Rapture.
The Dallas sports fans right now have to be looking over a cliff, right? First Luka Doncic earlier this year, and now Micah Parsons. They have to be. That city's going to burn down soon. What's the Stars? What are the Dallas Stars' biggest player? Because that guy's probably on the trading block up next, based on recent history.
I don't know, man. You get me talking hockey, you're going to get me on skates. At this point, I'm going to be backpedaling.
Or you're not like Slay, where you can not watch hockey at all, but still perfectly bet on it?
I can watch hockey the same way my cats watch the garbage man drive by in the morning.
Although Slay wants his belly on the glass. He still wants that. No, Slay once won a betting on a team he didn't even know who they were.
The CBJs.
The CBJs. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
The Columbus Blue Jackets? He's like, is that who they are? I'm like, you bet on them? And then he won.
Some people just have that golden touch, man.
I know. He's the hockey expert in town of all experts.
Good for him. Good for him.
Micah Parsons, though, man, 13 sacks his rookie year, then 13 and a half, then 14, 12. Last year, he only played in 13 games.
Yeah.
This dude, I mean, when you talk about defensive playmaker, that's what he is. Like, I wouldn't even list him as defensive lineman or linebacker or edge or whatever. Just go get the football.
And man, you look at the Green Bay Packers, this is the piece they've been searching for years at this point. This is a really good roster. They have depth at defensive tackle, defensive backs. They've just added a bunch of young linebackers between last year's draft and this year's free agent cycle. They needed somebody that could go out there and just make plays to really tie that whole unit together. 2 first-round picks sounds like a pretty heavy investment, but man, I don't know if you're this kind of piece away from really contending, or if you believe that, you go get your guy.
So a game that we should all now have circled on the calendar, September 28th. Packers at Cowboys. Micah Parsons returns to Dallas for the first time since being traded. After all the drama with Jerry Jones, we're going to get to see Micah exact his revenge. Dude. And I'm going to be honest, the way that guy plays, he might have 5 sacks in that game.
He's going to light them up.
Yeah.
Like, you might want to, they might want to sit Dak Prescott for that game because he's going to get hit all night.
Did Derek Thomas have like 7 in a game? Is that the number? That's what we're going to see. Something like that. Something like that. It's going to be crazy.
Derek Thomas had 7 in a game on November 11th, 1990 against the Seahawks.
That's crazy.
That dude, R.I.P. Just incredible. All-pro defensive playmaker. Micah Parsons to Green Bay. As a part of the deal, he signs a 4-year, $188 million deal with $136 guaranteed. And rap sheet saying that 2 first-rounders going back to Dallas. 615-737-1045 if you want in. How ready is Cam Ward?
Man, I think...
How ready is Cam Ward?
I think man, you never know until the live rounds are flying, and he's going to be tested early with those 2 defenses and the Broncos and the Rams to start the season. But from everything we've learned about the guy this summer, and now we're sitting here on the precipice of the season beginning. Like, my man has checked every box all summer long. You hear everybody just raving about his mental makeup. We've seen the aggressive mentality in the preseason. I would say he's as ready as you're going to get a rookie quarterback before the season starts, before he's played any live football.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, I come back to, like, I have no idea what his numbers are going to be, right? Like, he's still a rookie quarterback. Yeah. But I think what we've all learned and what we all completely understand is what kind of dude he is.
Yeah.
And that he's a leader. He was named captain as a rookie. And so we know the foundational piece to him. So, I don't want to overplay Cam Ward necessarily because he's still a rookie quarterback. And to your point, you still don't know what you're going to have ups and downs.
Yeah.
For sure. Cam Ward, though, the leadership through the roof. He talked with Bussin' with the boys about that.
I heard an interesting story about you when you went to first got to Miami. I don't know who it was, but they talked about it was like the first 2 or 3 days you were there, and they were there to watch practice, see how spring ball was going, and you were essentially the team on how we're not good enough, we got to be better, and it's like your second, third day in the building. Now I'm seeing photos of you standing up in front of the team at Tennessee Titans. Talk to me about your leadership mentality, and then when you walk into an NFL program, seeing guys that are in year 10, year 8, 9, like guys who have families and kids, and you're a young cat who's coming as a first overall pick, putting yourself in a leadership category with this team.
I just think it's more about learning your teammates. As a quarterback, you always going to be the leader, no matter if you want the job or you don't want the job. It comes with the territory. So I just think young quarterbacks got to understand that, and I understood that, I would say, as soon as I got to college. And just being able to be in the locker room with vets, they also helped me on becoming a better leader. Knowing how to interpret my words to the guys. Then also just being around the older coaches in the building, Coach Bush and Coach Rocker. I think those two guys, they sat me down and they also helped me, be a better leader just every day. Just trying not to, I would say, over communicate, but get the things that we really need to get done. And that just all comes with work ethic and I think just the grit that you want to have. Like in Miami, we were a very talented team last year, but when I first got there, we weren't there mentally. So I tried to get guys there mentally because at the end of the day, I say at least 80% of the game is mental. Yeah, you got to have some physical, attributes to play the game, but you got to have a mental attribute as well. And just for here, I think just all about playing together. I think we got a great group of guys in the locker room. We're an unselfish group. And I think the vets that we have in Jeff, Quandre, Tony, Calvin, they've helped me just in this short amount of time, get to at least being able to play at a high level. I know I got a lot of work to do, and I'm glad I got those guys by me.
We met him the day after he was drafted. We did 6th in Peabody. We did a show down there, and he came and did it. And we talked with him before he went on the air, talked with him after he went on the air. He stayed for, multiple segments, so we talked to him during a break, too. And I felt like I was talking to, a 40-year-old man in a 22-year-old body.
Wise beyond his years.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I could listen to him talk about anything.
And this is one of those weird, gray areas where football and real life kind of blend together because I do think you have to have a certain sense of self-awareness to be successful in life in general. And here's a kid that has the self-awareness at his age to understand it comes with the territory. When you're the quarterback of the team and you're the leader and you got to get everybody on the same path. And for him to just automatically assume that role basically when he got to Miami, I think it's a huge testament to his character. And we're seeing that now with the Titans as well. So it's encouraging. Again, from the neck up, you talk about the mental makeup. This is a dude that sure seems like he's got it.
Love it. Brent Doherty, Stoney Keeley filling in today. When we come back, we'll talk with Greg Cosell from NFL Films and NFL Matchup. We'll start by talking about Micah Parsons, now a Green Bay Packer, and then we'll go from there, what he's seen from the Titans in the preseason. Greg Cosell next, 3HL 104.5 The Zone. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. If you like watches, they are the place to go. If you haven't already heard, Nashville's premier timepiece dealer is Brentwood Jewelry. Not only do they have the best selection of watches, they're also the go-to spot for pre-owned Rolexes, both vintage and current models. You can own a fine pre-owned Rolex for a fraction of the cost. Every watch has been meticulously serviced to ensure the highest level of performance and is presented with a 2-year warranty. Brentwood Jewelry, for more than 50 years, Brentwood Jewelry has proudly been serving the Middle Tennessee area with exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. Family-owned and operated business spanning 3 generations, deeply rooted within the community. From Salem's service and special forces to his son serving as local firefighters, the Amamley family dedicated to giving back. Support local shop Brentwood Jewelry. Here to help you pop the question as well. Let them help you take the stress out of selecting the perfect engagement ring. They can help you find a beautiful ring in your ideal budget. Browse their incredible selection of one-of-a-kind rings or talk with their custom design specialist to create a stunning ring as remarkable as your loved one. 7012 Church Street in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for more than 50 years. Visit BrentwoodJewelry.com. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty with you. Dawn and Slay both out today. Stoney Keeley filling in. You can catch him football and other F words. Y'all are recording that tonight? Or doing it tonight?
As far as I know, I'm going to get up from this chair and go down the hall and sit in another chair, and we're going to go.
I love it. Greg Cosell is with us. Wow, I felt like a rap star real quick.
Yeah, I thought that was part of the song.
Greg Cosell is with us from NFL Films and NFL Matchup. Greg, you got us. Nope. Zeph's going to have to fix something. Obviously, the news today, all-pro defensive playmaker Micah Parsons has been traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. 4 years, $188 million, $136 million guaranteed. We knew that 2 first-round picks were going back to Dallas. Also, Kenny Clark, defensive tackle. He's going to be 30 in October. Hasn't missed a game, Stoney, and since 2021.
Yeah, he's a good player. And I know, like, the conversation Joseph and I were having during the break is like, you can't tell Dallas fans you just gave up Micah Parsons, but don't worry, Kenny Clark's on the way. Like, it's not going to make it's not going to make him feel good.
What a good player.
But Kenny Clark is a good player. He's been a good player for Green Bay for quite some time.
Greg, you with us? Nope. Zeph, smoke's coming out of his ears in there. But, yeah, what do you think about that haul? Greg Cosell's with us now, I think. Greg, are you there?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
I got you, buddy. Thank you. All
right.
Obviously the big news, Micah Parsons going to Green Bay just happened. Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks going to Dallas. $188 million 4-year deal, $136 guaranteed. Can you just kind of walk us through what you see when you watch Micah Parsons on film?
Yeah, I mean, he's a dominant player. He's a phenomenal pass rusher. You can line him up all over your defense. He's a game changer. He's an impact player. He's only 26 years old, I believe.
Yep.
It's, younger than a lot of the great pass rushers in the league, the TJ Watts, the Myles Garretts. He's younger than those guys. So, it's funny. I don't work for a team, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I know teams always hoard their draft choices. And I guess if you work in the building, it becomes groupthink and you think like everybody, because that's what comes down from the general manager or, whoever is sort of, the draft people in the building. But, to me, and again, the first round pick stuff, they gave up 2 of them, obviously, not 1. And Kenny Clark's a 30-year-old player who's a very, very good player. But if you look at their roster, they can replace him with younger players. But I've always believed, rightly or wrongly, that why wouldn't you give up a first round pick for Micah Parsons? Are you going to get Micah Parsons in every draft? Not likely, right? So I know teams hoard their picks, but, you're not going to get that guy in a normal draft. There's not going to be 100 Micah Parsons out there. So, again, that's just my point of view. My pointless point of view, as Billy Joel once said. But, I not working for a team. I'm not into that thinking where, we can't trade our draft picks.
Greg, I'm curious about, like you said, the value for this trade. It feels like this is the missing piece for this Packers defense. How do you see Micah Parsons fitting into them from a schematic standpoint? How do you anticipate that they will use him?
Well, they've been a 4-man D-line defense, pretty basic. But they have some players that certainly can move around. Rashawn Gary's been there. He was a first-round pick in 2019. He's a really good player. Quay Walker has always been kind of an interesting player. Edgerrin Cooper, a second-year linebacker, a great athlete. He was a really good pass rusher in college, in addition to being a stacked backer. This will be really interesting now for the D coordinator, Jeff Hafley, who was in the league before he was at Boston College, and this, I believe, will be his second year in Green Bay. So now he's got a lot of tools to play with. So we'll see. Don't forget, this just happened. And they have, week 1, they played Detroit, I believe. And Detroit's a difficult offense to play against. So you might not see, all the different tools in the toolbox week one. You might just see Micah Parsons essentially as an edge pass rusher. But there's a lot there to mess around with as they start working on this. So I'm really curious. This will be one of those defenses that'll be fun for me to follow each and every week during the season, because I think you'll see it grow and expand as you get further along into the season.
Yeah, they also play in Dallas in September, so that I've already put Derek Thomas's 7-sack performance out there for Micah in Dallas.
So I feel funny how that always works out when that happens. When teams trade like that, and all of a sudden it's like Seattle and Pittsburgh. I think this year they might play week 2, so they trade DK Metcalf, and all of a sudden they're playing Seattle and Pittsburgh.
Greg, I feel like if you talk to Cowboys fans and you tell them, hey, you gave up Micah Parsons, but Kenny Clark is on the way, it probably doesn't feel like much of a consolation prize to the Dallas area today. But like you said, Kenny Clark has been a really good player in this league for a long time. How much do you think he still has in the tank based off of the 2024 season?
He played well last year. I mean, he's been just one of those really, really solid interior D tackles. Again, when guys start getting older, it's almost impossible to know. You hope you get Dallas obviously hopes they get it, I'm sure at least 2 really strong years out of him. It's a good trade for them in the sense that Mozzie Smith, who was their first-round pick out of Michigan 2 years ago, who has tremendous physical and athletic traits, has just not turned into that player that they hoped he would be, given that he was, I believe, a top 25 pick in the draft. So I'm sure they felt that they need another D tackle. The question for them now is, now they have young players who have to step up and be able to rush the quarterback. Marshawn Nealon was a rookie last year. I think he got hurt. They drafted the BC kid as a Ruaku this year. Now these guys have to become factors as pass rushers. So they're going to get their opportunities. We'll see how it plays out. But again, I'm not in Dallas, but I would think that their fan base probably would not love this trade.
I want to ask you about a couple of the waiver wire claims. I know we talked before the show, and they took a couple of cornerbacks, which we kind of figured that they would go down that path. Jalen Armour-Davis, what do you know about him from Baltimore?
I got to tell you, I remember evaluating him coming out of Alabama, and I actually thought that this guy could play in the league as a starter. And again, when you're not with the team every day and you don't know the reasons why, I can't speak to the reasons why. He started games in this league. He's played meaningful snaps. It's not as if he's never played in the league, but I thought he had the traits to be a quality starting corner. Obviously, they didn't believe that in Baltimore. And don't forget, they drafted the kid Wiggins from Clemson 2 years ago. So they didn't see Armour as a player that was a starter. So look, we know what Tennessee's situation is. Supposedly, word on the street that I'm hearing is that they feel somewhat optimistic about Snead, but you just never know. So maybe, Armour-Davis gets an opportunity right now to compete with, both Brownlee and Baker to see if he can be a starting player. Like I said, I thought his traits were worthy of that when he came out of Alabama, but it hasn't happened up to this point.
Yeah, ran a 4.39 at the combine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and he was a good player in college.
Samuel Womack, the other cornerback that they took off the waiver wire from the Colts, 5'10", 190, just turned 26. He played in all 17 games last year, Greg. What do you think about him?
He started some, too. I mean, there's another guy with meaningful experience in the NFL. Again, I don't know him as well as I know Armour-Davis. But the guy has played in the league and, was good enough to be a starter on a team that was, close to being a playoff team. They're looking for depth and competition just because they don't know about Snead. And look, in an ideal world, and it won't happen this year, but in an ideal world, Brownlee is probably going to make his hay down the road as a slot corner. That's where he's best suited to play. So they need outside corners. So right now, they're looking for competition at that position. Whether these guys work out, who can answer that question? We can't answer that right now, but they're looking for competition at the corner position because they just don't know about Snead. And by the way, Snead could be great and play 3 games, and then the knee could flare up. You never know. You just don't know.
Don't put that out there. Greg Cosell with us from NFL Films.
Greg, I'm curious if you can explain the role of the cornerbacks in Denard Wilson's defensive scheme, because this is a position that they've churned through some guys this summer.
Yeah.
What makes it so important for them to get that position specifically right?
Well, just from the sense of just talking generally, Denard Wilson is a coach that likes pressure. And that doesn't automatically mean you're playing pure man coverage, but almost the way it plays out, if you're matched up on a receiver outside the numbers, you're going to have to match up. Whatever technique you're taught for that particular pressure concept, you end up matching up. So Denard, since he likes to pressure, if you don't feel comfortable about your corners, I've had this conversation with coaches in the league. If they don't feel comfortable about their corners, that really impacts their play calling in those high leverage critical situations when it comes to pressure, because they're just not certain. Because like I said, there are zone premises, zone concepts when you do pressure, but at some point you have to match. So it's really critical in the context of a Denard Wilson defense that he feels good about the ability of his corners to play man coverage, whatever technique that particular pressure calls for, but you have to play it. And so it's really, really important.
So to piggyback off of that, I was kind of surprised that they didn't add an edge rusher at the buzzer. Knowing what you know from a tape standpoint, having watched this scheme, do you feel confident that the Titans have the horses they want to rush the passer the way Denard Wilson wants to?
Well, there's multiple ways to rush the quarterback. Obviously, you can rush with your down 4, then you have 7 in coverage. You can do a better job of hiding your corners when you do that because you have 7 in coverage, so you win the numbers game, because there's only 5 eligible receivers. So you have 7 versus 5. In order to do that, your down 4 has to be able to exert meaningful and consistent pressure in those pure pass situations. Whether the Titans can do that, that's an unknown as we speak today. So then you start adding pressure because football is a numbers game. If you rush 5, you have 1 less in coverage. So now your coverage concepts become limited, not meaningfully, but they do become limited because 6 is less than 7. So you don't have as many people in coverage. So, and if you still can't, rush with 5, you can still rush with 6 and not have to play what we call zero coverage, because a lot of times you can create pressure concepts where based on the pressure concepts and the opponent's protection schemes that the back will have to become part of the protection so you can still rush 6. But there's also what we call zone exchange or simulated pressures where you can still rush 4, but the 4th rusher or even the 3rd rusher and the 4th rusher, depending on what you want to do, is a 2nd level or 3rd level player, and you end up dropping out defensive linemen. So there's multiple ways to rush the quarterback, which every team deploys all of these ways. The question is, what's the balance? What's the percentage?
Right.
What do you feel most comfortable doing in those pure pass situations?
Yeah.
Look, you'd love to be able to get there with 4. You'd love to be able to. That's why they drafted Oladejo in the 2nd round. Whether he's ready to be that guy right now, again, that's an unknown as we speak today. But, this guy, to me, watching his college tape, was an ascending player because he hasn't played on the edge very often. He only started doing that maybe the 3rd or 4th game in his last year in college. But, they see him as that guy, and we'll see how it plays out.
This is a fascinating discussion because this has been one of my concerns all offseason is it's going to be fun to watch that defense because I think that blitz rate is going to be high, one of the highest in the league. Because
Denard would love that to be the case.
Right.
But if you play week 1 and all of a sudden Bo Nix hits Marvin Mims for a 60-yard touchdown, then all of a sudden you don't blitz as much because, that's what happens. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that that's the quickest way that defensive coaches say, you know what, maybe I'm not going to blitz so much.
Or, I mean, hey, make a decision. Like I've just been concerned about their ability to get to the quarterback without getting exotic and having to manufacture that.
And you're right. And Brent, you're right. You can always scheme pressure.
That's right.
The question is, does that work? Because as I said, it's a numbers game. So you can always scheme pressure. It's harder to scheme average to poor corner play. Now, I'm not saying they have average to poor corner play. I'm just speaking philosophical football. It's harder to scheme average to poor corner play.
That's why L'Jarius Sneed's availability is huge. And the reason why I said it's going to be fun to watch the defense is because they're going to make big plays, and they're going to be big plays going the other way, too. So, I mean, let's go. It's like a NASCAR
don't
race.
Forget, there are some – much of that then also depends on your team. If you feel, and again, we're talking philosophically now, so I don't want people listening to think I'm talking specifically about the Titans. But if you feel you can put up 30 with your offense, I'm not saying that you're thrilled giving up a 60-yard touchdown because no coordinator's thrilled with that. But you might think, hey, I can be a little more aggressive on defense because I know my offense is going to put up 30. If you feel like your offense, that you have to win games 20-17, you might play that a little closer to the vest.
So good. I can't believe our listeners are getting this lesson for free. Getting smarter.
Hey, don't give Greg any ideas.
Come on now. Just talking ball.
Just talking ball. What about the running back? I was kind of surprised that they didn't add a running back. I guess they're okay because Tyjae Spears, for those that don't know, hit the IR, so he's going to miss at least the first 4 games, which means the Titans are, I guess, good with Julius Chestnut and Khalil Mullings. One of those two guys being the option behind Tony Pollard, and maybe both of them get carries.
I'm really intrigued by Mullings. He's really a one-year college running back. He sort of made the transition late in his junior year. He was a highly recruited linebacker coming out, I believe, either the state of Massachusetts or Connecticut. He's an East Coast guy. Again, you can't tell by 4 runs or 5 runs in a preseason game, but he's a sustainer. He's a grinder. His feet are a little quicker than you think. Not that he's going to be, an explosive, take it to the house back, but he intrigues me a bit because he's the kind of back that he has that look to me of a back that when it's blocked for 3 might get 6. And those 3 yards mean a lot in the context of what a play caller can do. So again, for all we know, he might not even get any reps in the backfield because, Chestnut's been here, I think, something like 4 years, and it seems like he always sticks around.
Yeah.
So, we don't know how they're going to do it, but Mullings intrigues me a bit.
Yeah. We talked about him last week with you, and Dawn shared this concern about his pass pro abilities. And
he's not going to play in those situations. I'm not saying they're not working on it with him, but he would not be on the field on third down and pure pass. Now, again, like I said, I'm not saying it's not an issue that needs to be worked on, but he's not going to play in those situations.
Greg, I got a question for you if we can shift gears and talk about the offensive line. Brian Callahan recently said on an episode of Greenlight with Chris Long that their playbook has every run in the book in it. So how important is experience then, like as a trait, experience and intelligence from the offensive linemen in running the complex run game that Bill Callahan wants to run here in Tennessee?
Well, Stoney, I would say it's not complex. It's just detailed. There's a lot of detail. And there's a lot of adjustments based on fronts. That's where the issue comes in. Different coaches have different beliefs about what you do versus different fronts. Bill is a guy that believes in a lot of adjustments. So that's where the issue lies. Now, someone like Kevin Zeitler has seen everything, but he's also not played next to J.C. Latham, who's not seen everything. And, even Cushenberry's probably seen a lot because he's a veteran, but still, you have to work together. I've been very fortunate to go to the O-line Masterminds event in Frisco, Texas, where Duke Manyweather does about as good a job as anybody can possibly do with offensive line work. And, all these O-linemen talk about cohesion and 5 guys having to work together and how you have to trust the guy next to you. That's what it really comes down to because fronts change. When there's 4 seconds left on the play clock and the defensive line all of a sudden shifts, 5 guys have to, understand that without really having a chat about it. There's no time for a chat. So, that's where it really comes into play, is just working together to block all the different fronts in base runs. There's not 1,000 runs. So it's just, what are the runs, base runs? How do you block them?
So I think, I brought that up because I think there's been some questions among Titans fans of like why they're moving on from some of their younger tackles to stick with some of the more experienced tackles. And I was kind of trying to cut at the heart of why that decision might have been made.
Udo made the team, right?
Yes.
Yeah, see, now he's been a starter in the league. He was with Minnesota. He started games. He's, that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with guys who are veterans, who, have been through, have, played a lot of football. That matters. Obviously you hope you don't have to play them, but very few teams get through a season just playing your 5 starting offensive linemen.
Greg Cosell, NFL Films, man, I knew when Stoney was coming in, Greg, that you guys would nerd out on football, and I absolutely love it.
I got like 6 more questions, but we got to get out of here. So.
We do have to go. Greg, next week we'll be talking about games. A week from tonight, the Cowboys
We're talking about
at the
those
Eagles.
Denver Broncos that a lot of people think are going to be one of the NFL's best. It's going to be a tough opener on the road.
It will be, for sure. I can't wait to do it. Greg, have a great weekend, my friend. Thank you for the time.
All right, guys, really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Greg. All right, Greg Cosell, NFL Films. If you love football, which why would you be listening to us if you didn't? At Greg Cosell, a must follow on X. When we come back, friend of the show with an announcement that he just made on Twitter that a lot of people are asking if it will affect us. We'll talk about that next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Blue Raider fans, it's here, man. This is the night we've been waiting for. Saturday, August 30th, Saturday. That's right, Saturday. MTSU and Austin Peay. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. on Saturday. The season opener inside Johnny Red Floyd Stadium, MTSU and Austin Peay. And here's another cool element to this game. It is the first ever whiteout. We're talking about a sea of white, wall-to-wall energy, a stadium rocking with Blue Raider pride. Come enjoy the family fun zone and Blue Raider Beer Garden on field level. End zone tickets, just $22. I'm going to be there. I would love to see you out there. Say hello if you see me. Rally your crew, grab your tickets, and get loud. Don't wait. GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets. That's GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets. MTSU hosting Austin Peay. They haven't played in a while, but they are playing on Saturday. Again, kickoff at 6 o'clock. Blue Raiders, Governors, Whiteout, be there. Phil Floyd, GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets.
All right, now kids are going back in school, and maybe hey, listen, this is kind of the time that we need to go ahead and upgrade some things in our home, like our windows and our doors. Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville, who you need to call to be able to do that. They will take care of you, and they are rated number 1 as the leading window brand in Nashville by homeowners in this survey. Number 1 for innovation, the most trusted window brand, and number 1 for the highest craftsmanship. I could go on and on about all their accolades, but I won't. I'll just tell you that I've used Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville, and I think they're the best as well. Here's the deal. They have a couple ways to get a hold of them. You can stop by one of their showrooms. They've got one in Franklin, 277 Mallory Station Road. They would love to say hi and welcome you in and let you see all the options. Or they have one in Hendersonville, 256 East Main Street in Hendersonville. You can go there, and no matter what you do, when you call Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville, make sure you tell them to give you the Dawn deal. So we do a different one every month for August, 50% off qualifying installations and no interest, no promo payments due if paid in full within 24 months. That's Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Schedule your free consultation. Check out that Dawn deal at PellaNashville.com.
3HL 1045 The Zone. Appreciate you being with us. What do they call Thursday now? Friday, Junior?
Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sometimes Throat Punch Thursday on this show.
Throat Punch Thursday is something that Zeph loves, and I always forget to do. You need to organize me better, Zeph.
We punching throats today?
Do you want to throat punch somebody? Is that what you're getting at? Or would you like to think about it and do it in a little while?
Let me think about it. Let's do it in a little bit.
I mean, does Jerry Jones get a throat punch for dealing Micah Parsons?
The entire city of Dallas, maybe the entire state of Texas is going to give Jerry Jones a throat punch.
You know, you hear about these things all the time, contract disputes, oh, this guy's going to get traded and all this, and it never hardly ever have. That's why I guess I'm surprised that they actually got a deal done. And if you're just tuning in, Micah Parsons from the Cowboys to the Packers, the Cowboys received 2 first-round picks, and Kenny Clark, a defensive tackle who's almost 30.
Well, this year alone, Terry McLaurin requested a trade, ends up getting the contract he wants. Trey Hendrickson requests a trade, ends up maybe not the contract he wants, but the compensation he wanted for this year.
It'll be his last year in Cincy.
It will, but he's going to play for them this year, and he's got the money that he wants to play for them this year. And then Micah Parsons, you're like, okay, there's no way the Cowboys are going to let go of this guy who's probably, arguably, actually maybe not arguably, just is the best defensive football player, maybe the best football player in the NFL right now. And, Jerry Jones is like, nah, see ya.
The Cowboys open the season a week from today.
Yeah.
And the Packers, as you guys pointed out, Stoney Keeley in studio today. As you guys pointed out, play in Dallas coming up in a few weeks.
I mean, is that I didn't look at see at the time. Is that a primetime game?
Oh, I don't know.
I hope it is. Can they flex that or can they flex games that early?
I don't think you can flex that early.
I would. If I'm them, I'm like, screw the rules. We're flexing this one ASAP.
I'm flexing right now, can you tell?
Yeah.
So, friend of show, Stoney, Chris Lowe, just put on Twitter, and we heard, obviously, earlier than this, but I thought this news was going to come out tomorrow, actually. But Chris Lowe tweeted, after more than 2 decades, I say goodbye to ESPN. This is my last day. And then he wrote, I begin with the most important words. Thank you. Going back to my days as an SEC correspondent while still working at the Tennessean newspaper in Nashville, I've been with ESPN for nearly 22 years. It's been a marvelous run, and my gratitude runs deeply to the fans, my ESPN colleagues, the coaches and players who allowed me to share their stories, and most importantly, my family who sacrificed while I was away chasing these stories. This was my decision, and ESPN graciously allowed me to step away. God bless, and maybe we'll catch up soon. So we're getting questions once people started to see that. He joins us every Monday and has for a long, long time. Maybe since January 2010.
I was about to say, I feel like I was sitting in a parking lot somewhere listening to him.
Yeah, because I've known him since I used to work at 1510 WLAC a long time ago, and I've been doing stuff with him since then. And this is year 29 in the business for me. And so we go way back, and I love that guy. I know a lot of you guys love his work. He will continue to do Mondays with us, and we'll be able to talk more about it maybe with him on Monday. But yeah, I wanted to answer that question because we've had a lot of questions about whether or not he will still be on with us, and he will.
Just to clean up that Dallas Packers game.
Yeah.
It is a Sunday night football game. It is already scheduled for prime time in Jerry World. I cannot wait. I'm not even a fan of the Cowboys.
I'm already calling it. He's going Derek Thomas on them. 7 sacks.
Has to. Has to, right? After all this, after the laying on the training table during the preseason game, and the only one not to wear a jersey during the game out of everybody, the public remarks, the requesting the trade, the essay, the 10-page long essay he posted out a few weeks ago saying, I want out of Dallas. I mean, that's going to be just fireworks.
You might have mentioned this, Joseph. I'm sorry if I blacked out there for a second, but what about him like laying on the table? Did you mention that?
Yeah.
That was what a crazy photo. I thought, like, is he okay? Like, I'm seeing somebody hurt on my timeline, and then I realized the memes were
Micah Parsons not caring at all for the fact that he didn't want to be in Dallas anymore. That was what that showed me.
I've never been. I can't speak to the quality of Dallas. I don't know if I would want to.
You know what? We went for SEC Media Days. You know what they allow you to do there? Take drinks out of the restaurant and get into an Uber.
Hey, I'm all for that.
True. I forgot they did that.
I'm all for
Will
that.
we take margaritas out of that Mexican restaurant?
I think you had multiple margaritas out of there. Dallas is. We didn't see much of the city. We went to the Mexican restaurant one night, and that was basically it. But in the hotel, how much better is this offensive line? Let's talk about that when we come back. Can they actually be good? We'll talk about it next. Tony Keeley in the house. We'll be right back. 3HL 1045 this home. Daisy Brand. I want to tell you about Daisy Brand French onion dip and Daisy Brand ranch dip. It's football season, it's snack season, and you need to be locked and loaded at home with incredible dip. Daisy French onion dip and Daisy ranch dip, game changers. Football season is snack season. Do it the right way. Watch your games, but make sure you snack the right way. Maybe you have a ton of TVs in your living room like I do. Maybe you have tons of snacking opportunities. Maybe you got chips, wings, veggies, whatever you do for games. You need to make sure that you also have Daisy French onion dip and Daisy ranch dip, game changers. They're delicious as homemade dip, and they're made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients that you would find in your own kitchen. We're all watching games this fall. It's snack season. Maybe you're going to have people over. You need to be prepared, and you need to have a plentiful supply of Daisy French onion dip and Daisy ranch dip. You can get them at any grocery store. You can't have chips without dip. Having said that, choose the best dip. Daisy French onion dip is the best. It's so great and the perfect complement to all of the games that you will be watching. Daisy French onion dip at all grocery stores.
Good evening. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from the Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs studios. In NFL news today, breaking news is the Cowboys traded All-Pro Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers after him and the Packers agreed to a 4-year, $188 million contract, including $136 million guaranteed. That's $47 million per year. Parsons is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. He nets 2 first-rounders and defensive tackle Kenny Clark headed back to Dallas. The Titans were back on the practice field today as they continue for their Week 1 game against the Broncos. No sign of J.C. Latham on the field today. However, T'Vondre Sweat was back as a full participant, and safety Kevin Winston Jr., running back Khalil Mullins were limited participants on a side field. In college basketball news today, Tennessee AD Danny White announced that the school has signed head basketball coach Rick Barnes to a lifetime contract. He will earn $6 million per year in his lifetime contract, and he will always have 3 years remaining on it, no matter what, until he decides to retire. For all your financial repair, whatever you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Yo, what up, 3HL? On the air, 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. You can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
There he is, the executive producer of 3HL. Is Zeph,
What's
Babs, and Slay both off today? Babs is doing the Marshall, Georgia game, and I was listening to our guy, Brad Powers. He said that he downgraded Marshall from last year to this year more than any other team in college football. So Georgia favored by 39.5. Stoney Keeley in studio today. Stoney, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here anytime.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there it is. All right.
Jackson. I just saw Jackson. Stoney has filled in from time to time on this radio station, and you can also check out Football and Other F Words. Him and Zach Lyons are about to do that.
Just keep showing up.
We're talking a lot about the Titans, and Raone Foster will join us in the next segment, Big Savagery. You can catch Ramon and Will weekday mornings from 6 until 10 on 104.5 The Zone. I wanted to get into the offensive line play.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because we had Easton Freeze in here like a couple of months ago, and I asked him about the offensive line, or maybe Babs did, because it's been a point of contention for the last few years for a lot of people that cover or follow this team. And he paused before he answered, and he goes, I'm kind of scared to say this, but I think they can be pretty good.
I do too.
Where are you with this group?
I think it should be much improved, and I think the only reason that I feel afraid to say it is out of superstition, because the last few off seasons we've said, well, it can't get any worse.
Yes.
And then guess what? It got
worse,
a whole lot worse.
Worse, often answers, hold my beer.
Yeah. I mean, we keep thinking we hit rock bottom, and then they just keep digging on us. So but that's not like based in actual analysis. That's based in superstition. So if you look at the actual analysis, the additions, really, we're talking about pretty much 4 new additions on the offensive line, because you get Lloyd Cushenberry back at center. That's going to be an upgrade. He missed a lot of time. You're getting Kevin Zeitler at right guard. You're getting J.C. Latham at right tackle after moving him, and then you're getting Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle. And
who has held up pretty well.
I know that people, that contract kind of put some lofty expectations on the signing.
That and the 12 allowed sacks last year.
But the dude can play. Is he going to come in right away and be like one of the best left tackles in the league? I don't know. That's probably a lot to expect from the guy, but I think he's a serviceable left tackle. And I think if you shore up those 2 spots, man, suddenly you're cooking. And then to go back to what Greg was saying, talking about the detail required in this scheme, you've got some guys that have NFL experience, and then it's going to be year 3 for Peter Skoronski. It's going to be year 2 for J.C. Latham. They're learning this system still. I just feel like this could be one of those scenarios where they hit things just right in their additions, tweaking that line, and this could be the year that things finally do come together. I also love how this team has talked about draft, develop, and retain, and now they've got their line set, but they're also starting to plan for the future. They get Jackson Slater, a developmental guard in the draft. Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, undrafted guy that now looks like he's going to be the developmental guy at tackle. And then they just signed Clay Webb that we talked about earlier to the practice squad. And they've got some guys where, okay, maybe this unit can be good and maybe they can start this little farm system going, really get cooking with these offensive linemen.
I think we need to have Stoney on a little more often because this is the most breaking news I think we've had in one show.
Right. First you had Rick Barnes with the lifetime contract.
That's right. And then we had Micah Parsons traded to the Packers for
yes.
2 first-rounders, Kenny Clark, and then gets the major deal. Right now, just out of Rivals, Hayes Fawcett from Rivals says that 5-star wide receiver Tristan Keys has flipped his commitment from LSU to Tennessee. The number 1 wide receiver in the 26th class has been committed to the Tigers since back in March, and he now becomes the highest-ranked wide receiver commit in Tennessee program history.
Wow.
If you guys remember this, Tristan Keys is a notable Adidas athlete. What happened just a few weeks ago? Tennessee announced their flip from Nike to Adidas. Big get for Josh Heupel and the Vols in that already stacked 2026 class.
I'm looking at the composite rankings for players in the 2026 class. Faison Brandon, quarterback, the number 1 ranked player in America going to Tennessee, and now Tristan Keys, the number 4 rated player, number 1 rated wide receiver going to Tennessee. Faison Brandon has been trying to flip him for a while. Every time Tristan Keys goes to Knoxville, Faison Brandon is there. They've become friends. So now you get the number 1 player, the number 4 player coming in the 26 class, the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 wide receiver. That's quite a stat, though. Highest rated wide receiver in program history, a school known as Wide Receiver U for a lot of years.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We'll need to talk about Raone Foster about this because I think it was 2 weeks ago we were out at Titans practice, and him and I were talking about it, and he kind of hinted at, hey, just wait and watch and see what happens. So I'd love to get his thoughts on it and his reaction from that being official. And Tennessee landing Tristan Keys. Hopefully, in this day and age, you never know until they actually sign. And even then, you still got to fight to keep them on the team when they're already locked on and signed in. Thanks, NIL. Thanks, Transfer Portal. But it should be fun. Josh Heupel's got a good crew coming here in 2026.
This could move Tennessee up to as high as 7 in recruiting. They're 11 right now. So anyway, thank you for the breaking news there, Zeph. Good job.
And this is really interesting, though, because this whole conversation we've seen recently about, the Vols scheme doesn't get guys ready for the NFL. It's not good for wide receivers. You just had a guy that flipped from LSU. We know the pipeline that program has had with receivers to the NFL to choose to go play in Tennessee. That's pretty cool.
It is. Back to the offensive line. I wanted to get your take on this, Stoney. The Titans elected to take a chance with Corey Levin hitting the waiver wire.
Yeah.
They end up bringing him back to the practice squad. Does that tell you that they think that Lloyd Cushenberry is good to go?
Yeah, I think it does. I also think, man, they don't have a backup center on the roster, and I think it was by and large just roster magic to shake Corey Levin's hand and say, hey, we've got a spot for you. I forget the terminology for it, but he was the veteran that he could have chosen where he wanted to sign if he was released. And so having his pick, they let him go knowing he was going to come back to Tennessee. So I don't know. I think they're confident in the building that Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be good to go for the season, but I don't think that's the reason they were willing to play with fire, so to speak, in letting Corey Levin go. I think it was roster maneuvering, and they knew he was going to be back on the practice squad.
Mike Borgazzi actually talked about that today. He talked about the decision with regard to Corey Levin.
Yeah, no, that was our expectation to get Corey back. Like I said, really the practice squad really has become like an extension of the active roster where you can move guys up with elevations and stuff. So, we had to do that with Corey right now, but Corey's going to be here.
There you go.
I mean, when you I mean, choose to go that route, I mean, you are taking a chance that somebody doesn't pick him up. But
what if it's just a huge heel turn and Corey Levin's like, no, I got this offer from the Patriots for $8 million or something like that. You've just let him go, and now he's turned on you.
Let's hear from the guy himself. Lloyd Cushenberry talked with the media and talked about his week 1 availability.
That's the plan. That's my plan, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What do the trainers say is the next checkpoint before you can get to full contact? Like, what do you have to do?
Not sure what exactly I need to do, but I think it's just mainly getting back to individual, going against someone else. Because I've been going on air for a while, getting my football conditioning back up to par. So, those things will come within the next few weeks or days or so.
Where is your football?
A couple more guys. I feel good. I feel like I'm in great shape, but I haven't actually been in a team period yet to see how much I'm holding up. So I feel good. I worked my butt off these 9 months.
So Corey Levin probably will be on the active roster on game day, I would think. Also,
I would be willing to bet. Yeah.
Prochet also, right? While they continue to get DK ramped up and ready to go.
And just in case at center Cush can't go. Just in case.
Just in case. Cut number 2, Zeph Borgonzi talking about Chim DK as a punt returner.
So Chim will be back there. That's really one of the reasons why we drafted Chim, because of his return ability too. And he's done a nice job out here in practice. So Chim will be out there.
Coach Callahan also talking about it.
Yeah, first and foremost, he's experienced. He was a pretty productive returner in the SEC. He was productive at Wisconsin. He's done it a lot, so he's got a lot of reps at it. He's looked good in practice. He's a sure catcher. He's got real speed and ability to break. I'm excited to see what he can do back there. He's hopefully someone that can help us flip the field and win that field position battle. But he's got a lot of reps and a lot of experience doing it, so excited to see him do it for real.
Are you guys concerned that he didn't take any punt return snaps during the preseason?
It's kind of crazy, right? What happened in the 7 days since Bones said he wasn't ready? You know what I mean? Like, they had they've had 4 practices, but they had 3 practices before the depth chart stuff, and 1 preseason game where he fair caught a punt and almost didn't catch it.
Yeah. I would have thought this was going to be a case where they sneak Prochet onto the practice squad and then he gets elevated week 1 and he's going to be the punt returner.
That's what I think.
Then they came out and said he's going to be the guy week 1.
Well, we'll see.
Listen, I love the speed, the athleticism. I think he has truly electric potential with the ball in his hands, but it is odd, Brent, you bring that up. Like, they go from, no, he's not ready to he's the guy. What changed in that time period?
That almost seems like a front office move right there rather than a coaching move. Because
I drafted the guy.
Yeah, the coaches were saying one thing, and Bergonzi and Brinker were probably like, no.
All Brian Callahan is worried about is winning that game on Sunday. So he will make that call. You know what I mean? Like, so you can hear one thing from some of the guys now, but we'll see what happens on Sunday. To put a bow on the offensive line talk real quick, Tony Pollard, the running back, obviously, talked about the offensive line improvement from last year.
They definitely look different. I would say they're more confident in everything that they're doing. It's a lot more communication and guys on the same page. And, it's the second year for the most part of people playing together. So guys are getting a feel for each other. We've been out here for a while now, so everybody's getting a feel for everybody.
I like it.
I like that too. And that's, people don't realize how big of a thing. I mean, Ramon will tell us how big of a thing it is for the offensive line to gel and have that sense of comfortability with one another.
We'll talk with Raone Foster about that when we come back. Also, get his take on Tristan Keys, number 4 player in the country, choosing Tennessee, flipping from LSU. He's from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Raone Foster, Big Savagery next. Stay tuned. 3HL. Change is always happening. Hey, it's a part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are written, songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. The price of your internet. Xfinity, introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you give 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees are extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed broadband experience. Report August 2024. 3HL 104.5 The Zone, Brent Doherty and Stoney Keeley with you today. Dawn and Slay will be back on Monday. Tomorrow we will be broadcasting live at Yazoo out in Madison. Looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. Our college football kickoff Friday at Yazoo Brewing Company in Madison. That's tomorrow. Thanks to Porch Factory and Logo Brands. And filling in on 3HL tomorrow, Kevin Dyson and Mark Mariani.
Going to be a good show.
Appreciate you being here, Stoney. It's been fun.
Anytime.
Raone Foster, Big Savagery joins us now. You can catch Ramon and Will weekday morning 6 to 10 on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, what's going on?
Man, clearly a lot. I get off a middle school football practice field and all the breaking news want to happen, huh?
Rick Barnes, lifetime contract. Micah Parsons traded to the Green Bay Packers, and now Tennessee flips the number one wide receiver in the country from LSU to Tennessee. You kind of thought that might happen.
I did. I got not really a word. I just got a nod and a wink about it, that situation.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to listen to people talk from time to time, and I just shut up and listen to people talk. And I was pretty much told it's not a if, it was a win with Keys. I mean, but he didn't help the situation. He dropped more orange notes and Adidas apparel. And I know he's an Adidas athlete and stuff, but kids are kids, man, or young men are young men. They can't hide a lot of stuff. It's just like kids. Don't lie to your parents. We know everything anyway, so you might as well tell the truth. So that was that situation right there with Keys. But I'm more than excited to have him. I'm hoping on the front end of this thing, it stops the narrative that you got to be a check school instead of a three stripe school. And what we're learning, I think, more than anything is seeing guys like Travis Hunter sign with Adidas, seeing Aaron Rodgers sign with Adidas is probably more about the check that you're going to get, and Adidas does have to overpay. And I think a lot of the time the finances are going to play a part in that. I'm hoping we see the other side of it, because the way it was always perceived or alluded to was, Nike can be cheaper because they are the brand. And Adidas has to pay a little bit more, and I think we're seeing some of that. So if you got a team that has the ability and flexibility to pour a little bit more into it, these are the types of things that happen. But I think it's more than just the money. Tennessee's been on Tristan Keys for a very long time. They've kept their relationship open. They've kept it very honest with him, from all the things that Brent Hubbs and Austin Price tell us also. And it's been a genuine recruitment from what I've heard. I think a lot of people are actually shocked that he committed to LSU so early when he did. But it's go Vols, man, and I'm glad to see him in orange and white.
Love it. Ramon Foster with us on 3HL. By the way, number 25, Boise State leading South Florida at South Florida 7-0 in the second quarter.
Ooh, they got two NFL offensive linemen up there in Boise this year.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
That's your love.
Well, Stoney knows, boy. Stoney's already on the class of 2026 draft. I love it.
We were talking about that before the show. He's all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He stay on the man. Again, the mind of an offensive lineman, Stoney. One day they're going to wise up. One day they'll wise up and listen to us.
Well, speaking of offensive linemen, shifting gears to talk about the Titans, Ramon, I'm happy for Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon making the initial 53.
Yeah.
A really fun – I thought the guy had some really good tape going up against SEC pass rushers in 2024. I know the athleticism was questionable. He didn't really test that well at the combine, but this is a guy that clearly – the Titans see promise in, because they kept him on that initial 53 to keep from exposing him to the waiver wire. So I'm kind of curious about your take on Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon and what you saw from him this summer that they might have seen and thought was worth protecting.
Not exactly like me, but his situation reminds me of mine. I did not test well at all. I had the size, I had the measurables, I had the tape. I had everything that they were looking for except for my measurables, man. And except for my testing. And that hurt guys. We see now on Stoney, as much as you read into the pre-draft stuff, you know that there's a certain criteria that teams are looking for. You have to match that.
Mm-hmm.
You either got to go above it or you got to be at the line. And he wasn't at the line with how he tested in some of those situations. Also going from San Diego State to Florida, it's a one-year test for him. And Florida didn't, they had the back and forth of their sacks and how their season went in general. But what you see when you turn on his tape is a guy that has size, has footwork, has drive, has finish, And teams love that. If they have to tell you whoa instead of sick 'em, you have a place in the NFL. And I think that's what the Titans saw in him, which is why they didn't let him go on that waiver wire, man. I absolutely love this. And then the other side of it too, Stoney and Mayor, is this. You got to play the economics game in the NFL. This is a very rich, and I mean rich, offensive line that the Titans have. I'm talking about from right to left. Think about it. So you got to have a plan in place to lower the cost at other positions. That's where Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon comes into play. So if you have a coach that you believe in and Bill Callahan that can raise him up and train him and mold him into the guy that you want, you lower the cost of him moving forward, whether that be a depth player or if, let's just say, he turns into a left tackle. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but you need depth and security, and Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, he satisfies that. That's why you keep a guy like Oli Udoh, too, right? He's another guy that's a veteran, got time in the league, but his cost is low. That's where this team is right now, man, and it ain't even about just this year. It's about next year when Peter Skoronski's fifth-year option's got to be picked up after this season, if I'm not mistaken, or the summer of this year's got to be talked about. So this is why you play that game of finding those gems, man. And yeah, I'll say this too. They paid for it on the front end by giving him over $200,000 for his signing bonus, but that was our sign right there that he was going to be a project for this team that you hope that Coach Callahan can pour into and make a valid NFL offensive lineman out of him. Measurables matter. The testing matter in this league, and I hate guys like him are knocked from it because it gives me, not that I went to war or anything, but it gives me PTSD about me knowing I was better than that guy and that guy and that guy too, but they have requirements that you have to meet, and sometimes you just got to get it on tape in front of the people that believe in you.
How concerned are you about a couple of these guys are talking about, like Snead and Cushenberry said it today too, trying to get back into football shape. How concerned are you about that as we are 10 days away?
Man, easier for Cush, I think, than it is for Snead because Snead's got to be in on every single play. His turning, he's a dynamic athlete. So having the ability to make sure that knee quad or whatever it is above the bar.
Knee quad.
I think can be a little bit more knee quad. Can be a little bit problematic for a guy like him. Cushenberry, man, the altitude is the only concern I got. If he said he's healthy, he's healthy. I do think having the insurance of having Corey Levin is cool, but again, offensive linemen, we can pace ourselves a little bit better than defensive players can too. Again, using my reference in my own career, I hyperextended my knee and had a deep bone bruise. I didn't practice any in the summer of 2018 for training camp at all. I'm talking about I had 3 plays and then somebody hyperextended my knee and I had a bone bruise. I ended up playing week 1.
Yeah.
And it was circumstantial. What I mean was it was cooler weather outside. It was a little wet, so I know the defense was going to be slowed down. But I was able to acclimate myself a whole lot easier because of the position I played, though I don't have to sprint every single play. If Cush can be in a position where he can hold anchor, again, on that Achilles, then I think he'll be fine. I don't worry about guys like him who take his job very serious. If it was somebody that was young in this league and you didn't know if you could trust him, I feel a little bit different about him. I'm slightly concerned about the Achilles just because of that injury, but I trust Cush.
Ramon, the Titans just added Clay Webb out of Jacksonville State to the practice squad. He's a player I really liked down in Mobile this season, watched his tape at Jacksonville State. But one thing I noticed about him right away is he doesn't wear gloves. And to me, that just feels like one of those moves that, like, are you trying to intimidate somebody? Are you trying to strike fear in my heart because you look like a crazy person? So since we have an offensive lineman on the show, I can ask you, why on earth would an offensive lineman choose to not wear gloves?
Man, listen to me, psychos, or they hadn't run into the right demon. That's the only thing. That's it. And you know the reason I bring that up is there was an offensive lineman for the Titans last year that didn't wear gloves, J.C. Latham. He's now wearing gloves. Okay?
Yeah.
It's stronger bodies in the NFL. Guys are quicker. They know how to smack your hands and cause pain to them. I'm not saying he's going to eventually go to gloves, but it'd probably be smart if he did go to them. Centers, I get it. If you play center, man, and you want to have and feel the glove, that's a little bit different. I get that. skin to pigskin is probably a little bit different than that glove to pigskin, so I get that one. But every other offensive lineman I know, man, is a gloves user. The one that don't, they're psychopaths. If I ever ran across a defensive lineman that didn't wear gloves, it don't even matter the color, okay? You can be black, white, Asian, you know what I'm saying? You can be Hispanic. It don't matter to me. If you wear no gloves out there, I'm like, man, y'all, we got our hands full with this psycho, and that's exactly how I treat it.
There you go.
What did you think about men are necessary? Ask Ramon if he's surprised that JC didn't get picked as a captain, but not surprised. But are you surprised that a rookie quarterback was chosen as captain?
No, not in this situation. If you'd have told me Caleb Williams was chosen as a captain for the team, I'd side-eye you on that one. But I will say this. Cam has been there early. He's led his young rookie class. He's helped shift and change the way this team view him. He had that team on a knee while he stood up and gave them a lecture after practice.
Yep.
He checked every box when it comes down to what he is as a player. Leaders come in different forms. I've been saying this. I think this team will be led by the youth. I genuinely do believe that, and I think it's because they have a different mindset. This group of young guys that are coming in, including last year's class, I don't think they've been beaten into the old Titans mindset to where, all right, we're down, we're going to lose. Like, remember, we talked about this all during training camp. Like, Cam will have a bad play or a pick, and he's bringing guys back to the line of scrimmage to run plays all over again. We have seen this story play out in front of our face. Just because he's a rookie doesn't mean he can't lead. Like, and then the other side of it is, too, just the company side of it. It does look good if your quarterback is one of those named leaders. You don't draft a guy number 1 overall and don't at least consider him being one of those guys. But I would even say this. I don't think that's the case with the Tennessee Titans this year. I think specifically looking at him and watching how he's talked and watch how he's challenged guys, including Jeffrey Simmons, including the other side of the ball often, you can't even question this one. I'm sorry, but if you are, I want to say the B word so bad, if you are big complaining about Cam being a captain on this team, I'm going to tell you this, you're a part of the problem. You can't see what's good in front of you by saying this, by saying, oh, he's too young. Stop. This guy is now the head of Cam Ward Enterprises. He's a multi-10 millionaire right now. I think he can handle this one, man, and his teammates have voted him in this position, and I think it comes from them and not from the coaching staff or ownership.
I love it. Very pointed answer. And for the record, I'm all for it. I was not surprised by it.
No, I'm just saying. Listen, I just know, like, people like to have a big fuss and fluff up about the optics of stuff. Mayor, listen to me. If it's right, it's right. Listen, if a dude is 400 pounds and he can block a 3 technique, put him out there is what I'm telling you. Like, I know some bad body athletes, man, that make plays for people, or some dudes that are just jacked up. Like,
bad body athletes. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are just jacked up, but they're good at that thing that they do. And I think that's Cam with his leadership. He's just good at it.
Man, I'd like to sneak in a Vols question if you don't mind, Brent.
Look at you.
All right.
Look at this.
I got you. Do it.
Ramon, you and Will have been all over this conversation about the Vols scheme and how it gets skill players ready for the NFL, or whether it does or doesn't, that sort of thing. And I thought you started to bring up a great point. I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday morning. Forgive me, my days are running together. But you started to bring up the fact that Chicago's got him a good one up there on the offensive line before Will clarified that we were only talking about skill players in the parameters of this conversation. But I kind of want to give you the floor to talk about how this scheme does impact the offensive linemen, because, man, Darnell Wright was one of my favorite players in that 2023 draft class. And it's kind of interesting that the conversation centers around the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. But how does that scheme get offensive linemen ready for the NFL?
It gets them, Stoney, and it could be almost direct. Well, here's the thing. They do everything that you want them to do. They do outside zone. They do gap schemes. They do inside zones. They do counters. They do front side lead plays with the tight ends, or if they have a tight end acting as a fullback. Stoney, the thing that and here's the thing, too. Like, now offenses will run no huddle. They will pace and be at the offensive line, too. So here's the other part of it. Like, I think when you look at the guys that have been drafted or not drafted with the success that Tennessee has had offensively, let's look at the guys last year. Cade Mays, right? Which one was it? Cade or Cooper? No, Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper was injury riddled, right? So that one right there is a red flag around the league. So you look at Spraggins. I think Spraggins has some issues too. You look at all the other guys that have come in. I look at this year. I think Lance Hurd is going to end up being a first 2 days type of tackle in the NFL. We already mentioned Darnell Wright being one of those guys, man. And I think if David Sanders continues what he's doing to Jesse Perry, who's there right now, and Sam Pendleton, those guys are at the line of scrimmage, key in diagnosing and setting up the defense to where they know how to block it. It hasn't been an issue for those guys as far as being able to get into the league. I do look at it and say I think it's a pedigree issue. I think with Tennessee bringing back Cooper Mays and some of those other guys, Spraggins, I think their level of competency to play in the NFL may have been a little bit lower than what the league is wanting at that point, on top of other injuries and stuff, man. The run game is good. You don't have guys who are in positions like a Lance Hurd as being a top tackle coming into next year without having the ability of having to run offense. I don't think there's an issue at the line of scrimmage. Now, what the quarterback does and the wide receivers and how they're asked to do certain things, I'll say this. I do know they go through the entire route tree at the University of Tennessee. Is it simplistic in how they go about delivering the football to certain players? It could be, but what I do know is this. Hendon has come out and said the University of Tennessee has prepared him well. Right? You see guys scanning left to right, right to left whenever they're behind the center at the quarterback position too. What I want to say is this. I think it's being somewhat trashed right now because you say, how do you lose a guy like Nico? Well, doggone it, you went ahead and still got George McIntyre, who's the 4 or 5-star guy. You also got Faison Brandon as another one of those guys. So I say this, if the pedigree of those guys is a little bit better, maybe we're having a different conversation, especially if Nico doesn't leave. And I also say this too, a lot of the times when we're watching coaches like raise young quarterbacks, and I would even throw Cam Ward and Arch Manning in that conversation, who's waited 2 full years for his term. Mm-hmm. But I think if Nico had given himself more time, I think this offense would have grown more legs for him. A one-and-done at quarterback just doesn't suffice sometimes, unless you're Joe Burrow going to an LSU and he turns himself into a stud. There's plenty of college teams around the NFL right now that are having guys not be in position to they've been in pro-style offenses and still can't make a roster. Will Howard being one of those guys, right? We're looking at Desmond Ridder as a pro-style offense. There's numerous guys that are in positions to make NFL rosters from, air quotation marks, pro-style offenses. What do we say about those dudes? You know?
Yep. Raone Foster.
It's a matter of pedigree to me more than anything. Can those guys key and diagnose? And I think this next regime of quarterbacks that Coach Heupel has, I think that narrative should change.
Raone Foster, Ramon and Will, weekday morning 6 to 10 on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, how excited are you about Saturday? Vol Network.
Can't
Mike
wait,
Keith
man.
and Raone Foster.
I might lay my clothes out on my bed the night before and just look at them real quick.
Can't wait to hear you, buddy. Have fun with that experience, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend.
All right, for sure. Y'all too.
I love it. Thank you. There's Raone Foster. Yeah, Mike Keith and Raone Foster and Jason Swain, Vol Network coming up.
How about that?
On Saturday, Tennessee and Syracuse. You can catch it right here on 104.5 The Zone. 3HL bingo card coming up. But before we do that, let's go to Johnny the Poet. Poet, what's up?
Can y'all hear that guitar?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. The return of football is finally here. A man can finally crack a beer. I am fighting, 'cause I'm a Titan. Yes, this is what we're heading toward. Cam Ward, let's go. Cam Ward, Cam Ward. I believe in you, young man. I hope you're hearing this because I think you're a winner, and I'm behind your back. This is John the Poet signing out. Bye.
Johnny the Poet. It's a little quick hitter there.
Man, we got to break news today. I got to be in the presence of 3HL royalty.
There you go.
We're on fire.
A lot of things happening. Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, the big story of the day. More 3HL. When we come back, 3HL bingo card and more. Stay tuned. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Football season is back, baby. Snack season never goes away, but certainly need snacks with your football. Do it the right way. Watch your games, but make sure you snack the right way as well. I want to tell you about my new obsession, Daisy French Onion Dip. One of my guilty pleasures during football season is eating dips with chips, wings, veggies while watching multiple games. And now Daisy came out with a delicious Daisy French Onion Dip and a Daisy Ranch Dip. These are game changers, delicious as homemade dip, and they're made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients that you would find in your own kitchen. Look for Daisy French Onion Dip at a grocery store near you. They are in all of the grocery stores. You can't have chips without dip. Having said that, choose the best dip. Daisy French Onion Dip is the best. It's so good and the perfect complement to all the games that you will be watching. Daisy French Onion Dip at all grocery stores. Daisy French Onion Dip, Daisy Ranch Dip. We're all watching games this fall. It is snack season. Maybe you're going to have people over. You need to be prepared. Daisy French Onion Dip. Get it at any grocery store near you. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Big day of sports headlines. Stoney Keeley in studio today. Babs and Slay Dog will be back on Monday. 104.5 The Zone's college football kickoff is tomorrow at Yazoo Brewing Company in Madison. Thanks to Porch Factory and Logo Brands. Join us as we celebrate the start of the college football season from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. with the Buck Rising Show broadcasting live from 10 until 1. Cover 2 from 1 until 3 and 3HL from 3 until 6. And while you're there, sign up for your chance to win Tennessee football season tickets and prize giveaways each hour. Plus, try our pregame Pilsner and enjoy free kickoff T-shirts and glasses while supplies last. To learn more, visit 1045thezone.com/events. 3HL guest host tomorrow, Mark Mariani and Kevin Dyson with me. So going to have a good time. Big news of the day, there were 3 main sports stories, I guess. Tristan Keys, number 1 wide receiver in America, has flipped from LSU to Tennessee. No big surprise. But that gives Tennessee the number 1 player according to 24/7 Sports in the country, and the number 4 player in the country, number 1 wide receiver, number 1 quarterback in the 2026 class. They've moved Tennessee from 11 to 8 with this one commitment. And the other thing is LSU was 7th, I think, so they'll have to knock them a little bit. But interesting storyline there. Faison Brandon, the number 1 rated quarterback in the country, number 1 overall player in the country, has been trying to recruit Tristan Keys for a while. So, and he's done so publicly as well. So that's a storyline. Rick Barnes signed a lifetime contract with Tennessee. He can coach there, and I guess until he dies. Is that what the lifetime contract means?
Or retires.
So I'm saying I don't know where to congratulate him or be worried for him. Is it a job or is it imprisonment?
Yeah. Do we know something? Anyway, and the big story, obviously, Micah Parsons is headed to the Green Bay Packers. So the Dallas Cowboys send Micah Parsons to the Packers. Dallas, in return, gets a defensive lineman. Was it Kenny Clark? Kenny Clark. He'll be 30 in October. Has not missed a game since 2021. So they get him, and they get 2 first-round picks, which we just discovered are both in 2026.
So I'm saying, like, the draft nuts, I know Cowboys fans are probably up in arms right now, but if I'm a draft nut, I'm thinking, oh, 2 first-round picks here. Where are we going to go with these?
Do we know who that second first-round pick is from?
I don't.
Because
I can't remember. I haven't had time to look.
Because the Packers have had picks in the 20s in 5 out of the last 6 years. So,
yeah.
And I'm assuming adding Micah Parsons, Jordan Love where he's at, then bolstering that wide receiver room with Matthew Golden this year, that they're probably going to be up there in the NFL standings, which means they're going to be down there in the first round of the NFL draft.
Right, but don't know where that second pick is. The NFC North, Stoney, is no joke.
No, it's not. I mean, that's like I told you earlier, I'm having trouble finding holes in this Packers roster. The Lions are still the Lions. The Vikings, I know they have a quarterback change going to J.J. McCarthy, but, I mean, let's not also act like Sam Darnold was, the second coming out there either. They're going to be good. And then I'm really intrigued to see what Chicago looks like with Ben Johnson at the helm as well. I think that is as competitive a division as you're going to find in the NFL.
Going to be fun, man. Yeah, Chicago made tons of moves to surround Caleb with a lot of things. So we'll see. 3HO bingo card. I only wrote down 2 things. Micah Parsons is a dominant player. That was said by Greg Cosell.
It was.
When I said, what does the tape show you? He said, Micah Parsons is a dominant player. Like, thank you, Greg. Moving on. And this, I think this is a potential dumpster fire. I'm talking about Auburn. That was Danny Cannell.
Ooh, yeah.
And Babsy and him love to spar, and she was not here to hear that. That would have been fun.
Got to roll those sleeves up the next time that he's on. She's got to be ready for that.
Robert just wrote this. Zeph, I want to get your take on this. Don't be surprised if Faison Brandon and Tristan Keys now flip Savion Hyder.
Ooh, the 5-star running back, number 1 running back in the nation, who committed to Michigan last week, I believe.
Over Tennessee. So if Tennessee could get the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 wide receiver, and the number 1 running back, that would be something.
And Josh Heupel would have earned every bit of that contract extension that he got yesterday, I believe.
Jackson Slater.
2 days ago.
Tell me about your obsession with him, and it happened before the Titans drafted him.
Yeah, I
remember you like basically threw up all over social media when they picked him.
Yeah, that was a viral moment. It turns out Jackson saw that moment, reached out. We chatted a little bit. And
oh, really?
He ended up on an episode of Football and Other F Words over the summer. So that was a really good time. But and I got to tell him this story too. It was really cool. Is that I just didn't know who he was when the announcement came that he was going to be on the Senior Bowl roster. And it's one of those cases where you start digging into a prospect and you start really liking what you're seeing. And then at the same time, you're thinking, okay, this kind of looks like a guy that the Titans might be interested in as well. Versatile, athletic, powerful, like experienced guy. And I kind of started thinking, the more I watched of him, the more I thought, man, if Bill Callahan could get his hands on this kid, like he's going to be good. And then when they drafted him, yes, I was excited about the player, but it was also a little bit of a validation of process for me as well to say that I could identify a guy that the Titans would also like as well.
Yeah.
And so for them to make that pick, it was just kind of, I kind of lost my cool in that moment. We were live on the air when they picked him for the Football and Other F Words Day 3 megacast. And that was a genuine reaction. Yeah. So I know he thought it was cool. He was like, yeah, somebody's happy that I'm coming here.
Yeah, I used that reaction as a transition in that intro I made.
Yeah. That's what it's from for people that don't know.
That's funny. One of the training camp storylines that I found to be interesting is over the last month or so, I was really worried about what was going to be lined up next to Cody Barton.
Yeah.
And now I'm not.
No, me
I'm not
either.
saying either guy's a Pro Bowler, but it felt like James Williams had kind of penciled himself into that starting role. But, man, Cedric Gray over the last few weeks has really come on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a massively positive development there at that second linebacker spot where you're thinking, do they have a guy at all? And now it looks like they might have two guys that they can kind of rotate in there. And I've said it on F Words before that I think James Williams has a little pass rush potential too. And we heard Greg Cosell talk about how they were going to have to kind of get creative. Like that's a piece that doesn't just help you at linebacker. You might be able to, I'm not going to be surprised if they sneak him up as an edge rusher some this season. Cedric Gray, more of the like triggering run defender, get in the gap, wrap up on the tackle guy. Not only are both of these guys developing at a pretty good pace, but they could offer some unique skill sets to this defense that Denard Wilson can have some fun with.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
What am I supposed to do with that information?
You don't know what that is, but that is a Slay thing.
Okay.
What button were you trying to hit?
The outro. They're right next to each other.
Oh.
And I hit the they suck button.
You have a college football update?
Yes. So, former Titan, Eddie George, making his coaching debut at Bowling Green today. They just kicked off, and for the second straight season, they have returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
Wow. How about that?
Little action tonight over in Bowling Green. And Eddie George gets his coaching debut there, started off in a hot way.
I remember when he got that job and like how many listeners were shocked that school was not in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I was one of those. I genuinely was.
Oh, man. Stoney, thanks for doing it, man.
Anytime.
You crushed it.
We didn't even get into the alien talk. I just wanted to talk aliens today.
Have you seen a UFO before?
No, but they're perplexed by shoes, apparently.
Are they?
If you listen to a lot of abduction stories, they don't know what to do with people's shoes when they take them off. They're like,
is that right?
Are these their feet? Did I just pull their feet off? They don't know how to put them back on. People say they're on, but they're not tied. They don't know what to do with the strings. It's crazy.
It's a good way to end this.
Show. There you go.
That is phenomenal. Stoney Keeley, catch him on Football and Other F Words coming up. About to go do it right now.
A few minutes. Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you very much for including us in your day and in your lives. We do not take that for granted, nor do we take that lightly at all. Have a great night. Have a great Thursday. Come out and hang with us tomorrow in Madison at Yazoo Brewing Company. We'll be out there. Have a great night. Good night. God bless.
See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya unless. Shout out to Stoney Keeley for bringing all of the breaking news to the 3HL airwaves. Thanks, Stoney.
Great job, Stoney.